What a shaking, everybody. Welcome back to Turntable Tales. Bro, we are back, dude. It's been a minute. And we're back.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Sorry we missed you guys last week. I was definitely kind of under the weather and had to bail on our stream last week, but definitely feeling better. So glad to be back, man. Seems like it's been a while since I had a chance to chat with you and a while to shoot some stuff here to the VC.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I'm glad you're feeling better, dude. And
Appreciate it.
And here we are. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna click over this button and see what happens. If I freeze for a second, it should just only be momentary. So here we go.
Okay.
1 second. Hello, hello.
Yep, got you back.
Ooh, we're back. We're back. Ooh, that was kind of scary. So I plug in my I'm like wired into my my modem or whatever when we do the live streams, but usually I'm on Wi-Fi, but I forgot to click over. So I clicked over. We made the connection. We are now wired. We're coming to you wired. So
awesome.
Well, guys, we're coming at you today with no agenda because we thought that, I don't know, I thought we got some feedback that was kind of like, hey, you know what? The second hour was actually really cool when you guys were just shooting the breeze and, you know, and chit chatting and, you know, responding to comments and stuff. So that's kind of the plan. We have a parachute. I do have a few things that I want to do at the very beginning. But I mean, other than that, man, it's like the show is yours. And we're just going to talk about whatever pops into our minds, and I'm sure it will be connected to music. Maybe not. I'm sure it'll be connected to the 80s. I don't know, maybe not. Well, probably, if you know us. I mean, that's pretty good bet. So yeah, you know what, dude, I was talking to this before. I'm going to show this because I don't know, I want to tell the story. And I know I was showing you and telling you a little bit about it, and I've talked about this before in the past, and some of you guys will already know a little bit about this. But when I talk about, each time we go way back, we go way in the way back machine to like the 80s, and I start talking about Journey, and I start talking about, you know, the Atari, and I start getting in that headspace. I got to mention my mom's, and I sometimes mention that she had dated a DJ, and we lived in Concord, California. She dated this guy named Don, who was a radio DJ, disc jockey, and spun records. And he wrote and produced an album. And I always remembered that, dude. I mean, this is going back to 82, probably 82 or something like that. And so, you know, I've talked about in the past, like I remember like he would get me records and he bought me like the Tron soundtrack. He bought me the Raiders of the Lost Ark, the story of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I have those in my collection. But I had this memory that he had written and produced a record, and it was an Elvis picture disc. That's the only thing I could remember. An Elvis picture disc. Well, try finding an Elvis picture disc 40 something years after it was put out when there's like hundreds of them, right? I think Elvis probably has more picture discs than anyone on the planet. So the only thing I knew was I was pretty sure it was like an interview or it was like the story of Elvis or something. So for a few months, by the way, I've been racking my brain on this thing for probably over 10 years. Like, I got to find this record, man. There's got to be some way to know. I didn't know his last name or anything. So anyway, to make a long story short, I was able to find the record a few months ago, and I was just kind of waiting for one to go down in price. And so I just thought it's such an interesting story to me, at least. I wanted to show it because what else am I going to do? So here it is. It's called Elvis, The Legend of a King. And I actually listened to side one. It's pretty good. It's literally like kind of a documentary style. He talks to people that knew Elvis and stuff. And, you know, this came out in like 1981, I think. And it's got a little bit of Elvis in the back and everything, but it's mostly just his story. And yeah, his name was Don Vogel. And so here's his name on the back, Don Vogel. And I was finally came to mind and everything. And I found this like minty copy, and it, you know, it's just one of those weird ass things that's like, yeah. I would never have something like this in my collection, but it was meant to be. I mean, first of all, how in the heck did I even, first of all, I didn't have this record. He gave a copy to my mom, And I just saw it in the stacks, of our vinyl at home when I was like 9 years old. But somehow it stuck in my mind, dude. And here I am 40 something years later, snagging one on eBay. It's insane. So, but anyway, I thought it was kind of a fun story. I wanted to show that. The other story about him was that we did a couple other shows. They didn't date that long, maybe a year or something, and then we moved. But he took my mom to the Grammys that year. And so I was online checking out, okay, what was the Grammys? I'm pretty sure it was 82. And I talked about this in the past, but I wanted to see like who was there. Well, people that presented, it was like Eddie Money was there. I don't remember. I was going to have the list up when we did the show, but I forgot to bring it up. But anyway, check it out. 1982 Grammy Awards. I couldn't find the whole show. Sometimes you can find archives on like eBay or on YouTube rather of like entire episodes, but really I could only find a couple clips. And then of course there's like a wiki page for it. So, and I started looking up like all the people that were there. I think the Pointer Sisters might've been there. I've kind of forgotten right now, but anyway, pretty fun stuff. So there that is. That kills a few minutes, but yeah, I just thought that was so crazy, dude. And to be able to track that down after literally 40 something years, man, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah. So your mom at the Grammys, one more story to add under her name.
Yeah. And I couldn't remember I guess I thought, well, if he was at the Grammys and he must have been nominated or something, but that record was not nominated. And so I started doing some research, like, have a fuzzy memory or something? And so I'm like researching, do you have to be nominated? You do not have to be nominated. You can work in the industry. He was in the industry. He was in the area. They do hold the Grammys in different areas around the country. This was in LA, so it would have been in California where we lived and stuff. So I'm pretty sure my brain is straight on it, man. I'm pretty sure they went. So
yeah, because what you see on TV is only like a small portion of the 2 days or whatever, however long it goes. It's like there's like a ton to it that you never ever see.
Exactly. Yep.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah. It's funny now, I think about this so long after my mom's passed and stuff, and I'm like, man, I wish I had asked her so many more questions.
I know, right?
About meeting Eddie Money and going to the Grammys and just all these different stuff. But just one of those things, right? She's my mom, so it's like whatever. Yeah. But now I'm like, when it's too late to ask, it's like, I should have asked.
Yeah. I like those moments like that too, that really kind of explain why we are the way that we are as music lovers and record collectors. Because it's just like you said, like it's just some little moment at some point in time when you were 8 or 9 years old, whatever it was. And it's just the rest of the world would never recognize it. And it just sears in your mind somewhere in there. And 40 years later, it's still just like so freaking fresh,
Yep. Well, heck, see, now you're making me think, dude, because now we can get deep here. I know we're 10 minutes in. Let's get deep. Is that I think about this, especially when, like, look, we're in our 50s, don't want to make a big deal out of it. People come and go. I have people in my family, that I'm losing and stuff. I'm sure we all are going through this. And you really start to think about some of the stuff that we talk about on here. And you think, like, one of the things about this show that I love doing this with you is that it really is about, like, our story. It's not about like what you could find on the Wikipedia. It's not like what you could find, documented here and there. You can pull up the liner notes. The story of music and the history of music oftentimes is the people that discovered and listened to it and have their experience and memories about it. They only live with us, right? It's like no one else would know that. No one else would know that, that record is connected to me somehow and through my mom and the Grammys and all the stuff. It's like, that's something that's going to go when I go. And so it's like, but we kind of document it here in a way because I think it's cool. And I think it's cool when you guys, the people watching right now, share your stories and, jump into the comment section or in the chat and stuff and share that stuff. Cause it's so cool. Cause it's what's unique to us. Right. There'd be no point, I don't think. And I know you and I would not be doing the show if we were just like reading notes off of Wikipedia, right? Like this is about like our personal experiences.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think like the one place I probably run into that feeling and sentiment the most is when I'm at the shop, because there's people you have the people that come in all the time that are record collectors, right? That are always buying, always checking in each week and all of that. And of course, it's awesome to hang around and talk to those guys. But then you have those other people that are kind of, I didn't even realize a record store was here and they're just kind of dipping in and, Like, this is so cool. I didn't know records were back and all that kind of stuff. And so those type of conversations always spark with someone new that's kind of coming in or just starting to discover that vinyl is back and that type of thing. And I just kind of have this one common response that I always say to them, like, oh, like the shop is so cool. This is so neat. I just always say, like, yeah, that's the thing that makes this so neat, is because sure, those are records over there, but it's like literally we can turn around and we're looking at 50 million memories that are sitting right there, that have taken people through their worst times, their best times, and everything in between. And it's just like each person comes in that door, they just start going down memory lane. And it's like, that's the fun part of working here. It's just getting the opportunity to dive into everyone's memory about, this one song on this one album. That's, 150 different memories that's going to walk through the door. And that's magical, man, because there's not a ton of stuff when you think about it, especially that visually and emotionally connects people to memories, I think, to the same degree that music does.
Yeah.
You can always look back through digital files and pictures, and you can talk about it with your friends, which is a great way to do it as well. But there's just something there's something magic about that same freaking artwork, and just how that music imprints on you, and how it's just such a efficient vessel to take you back in time, with so little loss in the transportation kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's the coolest thing in the world.
You're nailing it, dude. Well, that was a 1-2 punch right there. You're right, dude. That's exactly what it is. It's a time machine. The music is the vessel really to the memories, I think, and stuff. And that's so cool. It's funny. I mean, dude, I didn't plan it this way, but that's a great segue actually, because I text you like an hour ago and I was like, hey, grab 5 records that I've heard, and let's get our brains working, and I'll grab 5 that I'm pretty sure I know you would have heard, and get your stuff. And so, like, why don't we start that, dude? That's exactly what you're talking about. We'll pretend we're in the record store right now and do some storytelling.
Why don't you go first?
All right.
Why don't you pull something first?
Okay. Well, first one right here is Miss Janet. If you're nasty.
It's Janet.
A little Janet Jackson Control. So yeah, we got Nasty. What have you done for me lately? Pleasure Principle. When I Think of You. Those are kind of the big ones, and this was just massively packed with hits and stuff. I mean, what's your history on this? I mean, is this something you would have heard when it came out? What were you doing? What was Brandon doing in his life when this sucker hit your ears?
The interesting thing about that album is, and I think I've talked about this before, there were so many hits on that album that came out in so many different stages that it actually almost represents 2 separate parts of my life. When I was in grade school, junior high, whenever that was, and watching Video Soul on BET in our bedroom. I shared a bedroom with my 2 younger brothers. And we had this little 13-inch black and white TV, that we had 2 sets of bunk beds in this room. And that's all that was there, was that little black and white TV with a couple of cable channels and an Atari.
That's all you need. That's all grown boy needs right there.
all we needed. Right. And that was after we had felt like we had, hit the lottery, after we moved and actually got a house and all of that stuff. So it's like our own bedroom and Atari in the bedroom and all of that. But anyway, just remember that little 13-inch black and white TV, and the freaking What Have You Done For Me Lately and Nasty Boys just Nasty, I guess, just seemed to be on constant repeat on Video Soul over and over and over, like when she was really just starting to make it big with that. So, it's like I can almost just like smell the funky clothes and see the black and white display of the Chopper Command and the Pitfall on that TV. Oh. Black and white, no color now. We're at 13 inches. And yeah, just seeing and hearing those 2 videos just always popping up on that television set, man. The little Journey poster up on the wall that hung like right over the closet door, 1 Michael Jackson poster, because before I got my own room, there wasn't a ton of posters all over the place. It was just those two that we had in the room, Michael Jackson and Journey.
Oh,
And
nice.
and yeah, man, those two videos were just on all the time. We freaking loved them too, because it was kind of the first time you saw Janet as like a woman. You know,
Okay,
everything
yeah.
prior to that.
Well, she's like on Good Times, right? Is like 10 years old or something.
Right. And the only other hit that she had before that album dropped, which was a song that I did like as a kid too, was a song called Dream Street.
Okay.
This album, I think, was actually called Dream Street, and Dream Street was the single off of that. And it was fun, and she had a video for that one, but it was kind of just like, that was more teenage girly, you know, kind of stuff. And that's just kind of how I knew Janet Jackson, was strictly from that album and that video. So when Nasty came out, you're just like, oh crap, that is Miss Jackson. It's like, wait, what the
She's a woman now. Yeah.
Fun times. That was a good time in life, man.
1986.
Yeah.
So you would have been what, like 13 or something?
Yeah. Somewhere around 12 or 13.
Perfect age, dude. Perfect age. That's cool. I love it. Chopper Command on the Atari, baby. Let's go.
little Pitfall.
Dude, that
hours on end.
That was our Mario back in the day, dude.
Heck yeah. All right, let me do one for you here. Another classic album I think everyone knows, but it's just one of those magical ones. What type of memories did this band bring up for you? Little Police City.
I mean, Every Breath You Take, you know, talk about MTV. I mean, dude, that thing was on repeat. And I actually remember, so I do have a weird memory. Like, I remember I was across the street at my buddy's house. His parents hated me because, I mean, I was kind of a troublemaker, dude, at that age. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't probably even want him hanging around with me. And that video was on. And I remember having like a bad attitude about it. Oh, come on, man. This is stupid. Let's change it or something like that. And his dad going like, hey, this is a great song. But it was kind of slow and stuff. You know what I mean? Dun, 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 dun. And it's kind of a boring video, if I'm being honest, right?
Right.
And he checked me, dude. And I was just like, okay, you know. So, you know, but over time I started giving it a little bit of giving it a chance and stuff. And then before I knew it, within like a few months, I was buying the album. I was listening to, like, you know, the whole thing on repeat in my room and stuff and just loving it. The Police kind of, what's interesting, and that would have came first. So yeah, that album right there, MTV, then buying the record and loving it and spinning it all the time. But then that was before high school. Then I hit high school and I had a friend, I met this kid, and I would always draw pictures for him in class and stuff, like Iron Maiden and just different stuff, because I was like the class artist or whatever. Right. He's like, yeah, you should come hang out with me. I got so much music and it wasn't CDs, but cassettes and stuff. And so I went over there. He hands me 2 Police cassettes that I never heard. And it was the first 2 albums, the first 2 records on cassette. And so I played them and stuff, and it was like a whole different world. I was just like, oh man, this is way different. Like, I almost didn't even connect it with synchronicity. But yeah, anyway, I should remember that, dude. And then that was like, now I'm not just a synchronicity fan, like now I'm a Police fan, officially a Police fan, you know what I mean? Like freshman year. So, but yeah, dude, I mean, so good. MTV, like you said, and then, you know, kind of a sour melody having to get checked on Every Breath You Take, but you know, it paid off. You know, occasionally I had to be checked, man. And so it was like, yeah, I came around. So yeah, I love that album. And to this day, it's one that never loses. It's just so polished even now. And you hear that stuff and it's, you know, whatever, just takes you back.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Great record. All right. By the way, we did not show, we're doing this live. I didn't know what you were pulling for me. You don't know what I'm pulling for you, right?
Oh, right. Right.
So, all right. Here's one I recently picked up. I did send you a picture of it. I was like, because so you'll hear something, dude. And oftentimes it happens on like the stream services and your record's done playing and then it keeps playing other stuff like that. And then you'll hear something and all of a sudden your memory gets blown away and you're like, I have not heard that song in like 40 something years. And now I need to go buy it. And so that's what happened to me on this one. And this is the 12-inch single. It's Junior, Mama Used to Say. And if you remember that, dude, my mama used to say, Take your time, young man. Don't you rush to get old. You guys remember it, man. So yeah, that's it right there. The super single. So I showed this to you in its Oakland A's color glory right there, yellow and green.
Yeah.
You said you knew it. So I mean, would you have a memory of this? 1981, by the way, on this one.
Yes. And there was a video for that, I believe, because I think that's how I remember it. And I don't know how it got processed in my mind, but for some reason, as many times I've heard that song, I've always mixed it in my mind with Night to Remember by Shalimar.
Okay.
I always put Night to Remember verse in my mind, and I put Junior's not solo, I'm thinking of Junior's chorus in my mind. For some reason,
Okay.
I locked those two things together, and I did it as a kid. And that's why I can't seem to get rid of it now.
Yep.
And so I think, again, they just came from watching videos, and you hear something you like and you're trying to hum it and sing it later or whatever, and you don't exactly know the words. You don't have YouTube to go to it and like take your time to learn it and all of that.
Exactly.
Sometimes you start mixing songs together, and that's one that I definitely did it with. But I totally remember that song and that video.
That's cool. I do not remember the video. Maybe if I hit it on YouTube, I'd remember. But I don't remember a video, but I remember hearing it on the radio fairly regularly back in the day. And sometimes you'll just get a picture, right? Like you'll hear something, maybe you haven't heard it literally in decades, and you'll just get a picture of kind of like where you must have been. And I was having a picture of me being in like a 7-Eleven playing like arcade games, and it probably came on it's probably just one of the many times I heard it, but that was the memory, and stuff. So it's just so weird how that stuff works, right? How it just unlocks something for you.
Yeah. That sounds like a good video to do right there. It's just like picking out a song that you heard in some weird place and you just vividly remember the place and the time. Yep. That would be a fun one to do too.
That would be good, dude. That would be good. What's up, Johnny in the house, baby? Yeah, we're just and I know we're kind of freeballing it, if I'm being honest. So there's no notes down below or anything, but we're literally just kind of vibing out today. Right now, Brandon and I each picked 5 records for each other. We don't know what the records are. This was very last minute, and we just picked records that we know that the other person has heard, but we want to kind of hear the story behind it. So that's kind of where we're at. Okay. And too, Johnny, is that we want to know yours, man. If we hit something, we hit a chord with you, let us know, because that's what it's all about. It's all about the stories behind the music.
Right. All right, let's dive into another one here. I'm pretty sure you've heard this one. You can always correct me if I happen to be wrong. What about a little Easy Does It?
Oh, bro. All right. Let's go. So NWA, right? I mean, NWA comes out, and it's like especially with me, I was at an age, would have been like what, 88, 89 or whatever, whenever that came out.
That was 88.
Yeah. And so I was 15, 16, right, something like that. And my hip hop experience was started in the early 80s. So we're talking about, the Fat Boys and Egyptian Lover and LL Cool J and Run DMC, at all, Whodini and, name any band from that era. Loved all that stuff. And then Beastie Boys came out and was in love with the Beastie Boys, License to Ill and all that stuff. And then like NWA hit me in the face, and I was kind of like, and everybody had it and was playing it. And I was kind of in this like phase of my life where it was like, yeah, if everybody liked it, like I wasn't going to like it. Like, what is this kind of a thing? You know what I mean? But it didn't take long before I was like, all right, this is actually as dope as hell. And so, but one of the great things about it was like the stuff to kind of come out of it. And I remember like Eazy-E, coming out of that and stuff. And the song that he, God, what's it called? What's the one where he's talking about like robbing a house and stuff? And he's like, I'm
not sure which one you're
back in the bucket and, waiting for some people to leave. I got another trick up my sleeve. Move to the back, whatever it is. I can't remember, but he's kind of a part of it's like an interview, and then the girl says, she goes like, were you ever caught slipping? He's like, hell nah. And it just, anyway, it's so dope, dude. And like that song, God, I can't believe I can't think of it. Maybe someone will know, but it's all about like, you know, and something, I don't know. I wish I could play it right now, but anyway, yeah. Okay. Eazy-E, that's the tune. And I was like, I got to hear this whole album and stuff. And it's so good. And the thing about Eazy that's funny, right, is that like he hated his own voice. He wasn't even gonna like rap and stuff. And he hadn't discovered like what are my bars gonna be like and all this. And then he gets a little help from in the studio. And the next thing you know, he's banging. And man, and it's so funny that when you think about it, is that like Ice Cube, Eazy-E he carved his own style, man. And you knew his voice, you knew the way that he rhymed was so great. And he became like my favorite, you know, out of that group of people. You know, I was like, man, it's all about Eazy-E, dude. It's all about Eazy-E. And I wish I could think of that song right now because it's so great. But I think it's Dr. Dre and him doing, or he's talking about Dre or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, man. It's funny because that record, when you talk about Eazy-E, for me, that kind of stayed in that era for me. That don't have the records or anything. It's not something that I'm spinning now, and so everything about NWA and Eazy is gonna be like locked away in a time capsule. But gotcha. I loved it, man. And Eazy was so great, dude. He was so good. And to me, him and Cube. I mean, oh my God. I mean, come on, dude. Both of them just so great. So,
yeah. I mean, I've always kind of said, you know, just talking about what you're saying with NWA and everything like that, you know, I think there are very few moments, probably once in each person's lifetime, where you actually get to see that moment in time where music stops and goes a completely and totally different direction. Like there's not just a ton of times where you get to see the Beatles do what the Beatles did, you know, that kind of thing. And I feel like in that late 80s, going into the early 90s, with like NWA and Nirvana, like we actually got to see that moment in time where you can pinpoint music stopped doing this and it went a totally different direction just like this overnight. And so yeah, when you get to grow up with one of those bands, you know, having the opportunity to influence you the way that NWA and Nirvana and the Beatles and all whatever, you know, did it is kind of just it's a magical thing. It definitely does imprint on you. Like I said,
you nailed
Eazy
it.
did have a very unique voice, and of course, you know, just like with the language and everything that we hadn't really seen up to that point in time, you know, that just added that much more to it. But the other thing I think that made it, I don't even necessarily know how to put this, maybe one of the benefits of not having all the social media and everything. It's like back then when we had NWA, and then when Eazy, you know, did Eazy Does It, and then Ice Cube came out with America's Most Wanted, and then NWA came out with 100 Miles and Running and all of that. Like throughout that short period of time where all of that happened, I had no idea NWA had broke up.
Yeah.
You know, like there wasn't all this, especially like with MTV and stuff like that. They weren't talking about NWA and what's going on in the hip hop world and all of that at the time. So unless you were like really into the magazines or following whatever, you had no clue. It was just like, here's an NWA tape, here's an Ice Cube tape, here's an Eazy-E tape. This is just great stuff falling out of, you know, no clue that there was all this turmoil and everything going on internally. Right. Which, like, to some degree, it's like, great. I didn't have to get caught up in that. I just like the next album that came out. And it was just freaking awesome, kind of thing. You
exactly.
know? And yeah, Eazy Does It was just kind of one that was right up there with, you know, especially of course with like, you know, the title, not the title track, but the track Boys in the Hood. I mean, anyone who had an $800 car with a $1,200 stereo system in the back of it, that this was one of the cassettes / albums that just lived inside of your vehicle. And
100%, dude.
You're right. And that in and of itself is how it gets beat into your mind and imprinted on you so much, because you were surrounded by, you know, 550 watts of punch power in your trunk and Alpine green up front. I mean,
well, that's how you let everybody know you were coming too, man. It was like, you know, we weren't shy about it back then. It was like you come rolling into the school parking lot or rolling out, rolling out usually because you couldn't, we're going to get in trouble. You were leaving anyway. So it's like, let's crank it up. That track is called No More Questions. So it's on that record. So if you get a chance, anyone that wants to hear it, it's a fantastic tune. Yeah. And he's kind of like he's responding to interview questions in it and stuff. Yeah, he says, golly. And he's kind of yelling through it with his great voice. That's what's so hype about it, dude. I'm trying to find that one lyric. Hang on.
Yeah, I haven't spun that in a while. I'm gonna have to put that in my in rotation pile so I can spin this week.
Yeah, there's this verse towards the end where he's talking and he lowers his voice because usually it's really loud. And then he gets a little bit quiet. You could kind of hear like crickets in the back, like he's actually behind. He's like waiting for some people to leave. I got another trick up my sleeve. Step with pep to the back of the house, looked in. All the lights are out. Grab the door and it's locked so easily. Made my way to the window. It's just, it's so great, dude. You have to go hear it, dude. It's perfect. It's perfect. That's a good one, dude. That's a shocker. I didn't think you were going to bring that one up.
All right, what do you got next?
All right, next up for me, and I know you have love in your heart for this band right here. So Psychedelic Furs, this one is Mere Moves, of course, and the great tune. I mean, the big ones that most people are going to know are going to be The Ghost in You, Heaven is a great one, Heartbeat, maybe that's another big one. But anyway, yeah, that's a great album. But like, those would be like the more mainstream tracks that people would have heard. Yeah. Where does this start with you, or what memories do you have?
Well, anytime I hear the Psychedelic Furs, like no matter what song it is, my memory spark always gets adjusted right back to Pretty in Pink and the movie Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just the sound of his voice and just that magic that they had, like everything just for whatever reason takes me back to that point. But I think the biggest thing with the Furs is there's outside of Pretty in Pink, there's not really a bunch of different moments where I specifically think about like The Ghost in You reminds me of like this moment or takes me back to that specific moment. It really is just like, I don't know what the best way to put it is. It's just like the best representation of what the 80s felt like. Like that's what the Furs always does to me emotionally when I'm listening to them. I'm not going back to specific moments, but it's almost like, wait a minute, someone just turned all the furniture into flower pattern furniture with wood, and the carpet just got dark brown and the walls just got all ugly. It's just like, it's like a time machine. Just what they do, it's just like a time machine that just emotionally takes me back into that moment. And I don't know, man, I freaking love it. It makes me think about dating in the 80s. It makes me think about just like the mall, the clothing, the neon lights, the hairspray, that just, I don't know, it just really, really captures the feel of that moment. And that's what I love the most about the Furs.
Yeah. No, you're right, dude. It is a Pretty in Pink, obviously. I mean, that's such an iconic, anytime like the Thompson Twins and like 16 Candles, it's like they're just fused for all time,
Right.
So yeah, I can definitely see that. And yeah, I mean, Love My Way, being such a big track on MTV and all that stuff. Yeah, man. But you're right. It's like they just have, like the Thompson Twins too, I think. And funny, I guess I mentioned them, but I think of them almost in the same breath of like just oozing the 80s. Like the 80s would not have the soundtrack that it has if it wasn't for those bands, man.
Yeah.
Because those are the movies, especially when it's linked to another sensory thing, like a movie and stuff.
Right.
And it's like it just ingrains it even more in your DNA.
Yeah. And I think too, as like Americans, when you do have those bands that came from the UK and all of that, they're like, even just having that accent that's thrown in on what they did. I think, and I'd be kind of curious if that makes it a little more defining for us, because we are experiencing the accent than maybe it does for people in the UK. I wonder if they experience the same way with like Bruce Springsteen going to them.
Yeah.
Like does that American accent actually make it a little more magic or a little more 80s defining to you? Like, I'd be curious to ever have that discussion with someone that grew up over in Europe during the 80s.
If you're watching from the UK, drop a comment.
Yeah, let us know. Man. Oh, so my turn.
Yep.
All right. Let's go with this one here. Another kind of simple one, but straightforward, but definitely was a power pack for the 80s. Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms.
Yeah.
How does that one register on your 80s radar?
Well, I'm a little light on my Dire Straits. If I'm being honest, I wasn't like a big Dire Straits head or anything, but the one song that we all heard was like Money for Nothing, right? So it's like,
right.
And you get the kind of,
excuse me.
It's funny. I saw somebody post something on like Instagram, and of course anyone will post anything for clicks, but it was like that song, and it said, no one knew that this was Sting that, opens up the track or whatever. And it's like, bro, yeah. Everybody knew that. Come on, man. And, but that whole I Want My MTV thing and stuff, it's like when you're sitting down and you're watching MTV and suddenly you just hear like this bass note and then I want my, you're just like, here it comes. And then it goes into that crazy guitar lick and stuff. So that's what sits with me when it comes to Dire Straits, man. And that was just such an iconic song at that time, man. And the fact that it was Sting and everything. And it was like, but that's kind of where it starts and ends with me. Like, I don't really know a lot about Dire Straits. I didn't go out and buy the records and stuff. I probably should go down that rabbit hole. I probably really dig that stuff. But that's kind of it for me, man. Is just that moment, I can almost remember the first time, we heard that Come On and stuff, and then that cool animation and stuff. And
yeah.
The like Tron dog or whatever, just looking all, it was just, it was wild at the time. You know what I mean? It was just struck a chord with everybody. And so anyway, that's kind of my memory about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of great stuff on that album, but yeah, of course, Money for Nothing and Walk of Life were just definitely the two tracks that had all the video rotation, especially Money for Nothing, just one of those absolute defining 80s videos. The one thing I've always thought that Money for Nothing maybe doesn't quite get the credit that it deserves, just for a moment in the song, is because it's one of the few songs that did the exact same thing that the drum roll in Air of the Night by Phil Collins did.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody waited for that moment for that drum fill to kick in when you were listening to Air of the Night. That intro was the exact same thing for Money for Nothing. It was just like you needed the like you were just biting at the bit for that guitar lick to kick in. And I think there's a lot of songs that, of course, fun and have different neat things like that. But I don't think any other two songs did it to the same degree that In the Air of the Night and Money for Nothing did it in that regard. So again, in my mind, when you can do those type of little things and make it so impactful, there's just a little bit of magic that you created. Maybe you didn't know you were doing it at the time, but there's something kind of magic about that, kind of legendary about it.
We did a whole video on this where there was really this art of the intro, like capturing your attention immediately so that you could identify what you were about to hear. And I'm biased, but I feel like that no decade did it better than the 80s. And I mean, maybe it was that radio recognition that we don't really have anymore. Maybe it was even the MTV recognition. Like you'd hear it and you would get your butt down so you could watch because you knew what you're about to hear and exactly what you said, man. Like you knew it was going to be Phil Collins. You knew it was going to be Hall & Oates. You knew it was going to be MJ. You knew it was going to be Van Halen or Dire Straits. And there's something about that that's so cool. It's painting a magazine cover like back in the day, and maybe magazines don't really sell that much anymore, but there was a time when like the pictures on the covers were meant to grab your attention because there was 100 of them on a newsstand and every one of them was trying to get you to reach for it and pull it off. The same thing with the music and that sound, right? It's this, you would just identify it immediately. So anyway, I feel that, dude. Yeah. Phil Collins, the same way, man. All right. So next one I got, another one I picked up recently. Part of why I was thinking of these is because I snagged a couple of these recently that I've been having to get back in the collection with the vinyl reboot. So how about a little Whodini Escape, dude? Um, yeah, you know we're talking about 5 minutes of funk. The Freaks Come Out at Night, Big Mouth, Friends, just to name a few. Um, and this is what 84. So we're talking 84 hip hop now. What about Whodini Escape, dude?
Banger. Man, well, let's put it this way. No exaggeration. Yesterday I was coming home. Got right up to near about maybe quarter of a mile from the turn into my place, and We Are Whodini came on.
Yes.
I drove a long way home just because I wasn't ready to stop it. That was yesterday. That was
Nice.
yesterday. I mean, that's one of those albums, man. One of my top 20 hip hop albums of all time. And I don't know if I could take it back to one place, because there were so many different places where like that album has a cemented memory in my life of like my buddy Jeff and one of his friends when we did one of his first talent shows. You know, they were two break dancers or whatever. This is in 7th grade. And I remember we were talking about like, what song are you going to use? What song are you going to use? You know, and all. Well, of course, we landed on 5 minutes of funk. You know, and I was like, that's the song that we chose. And I remember watching them on stage, and I mean, they killed it. It was freaking awesome, right? But then at the same time, it's like one of the videos I remember recording on VHS and just watching over and over and over again, which I guess is not on that album, but 5 minutes of funk, but by not 5 minutes of funk, I'm sorry, Funky Beat by Whodini.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like so many different places, you know, throughout my breakdancing life. You know, how many times did I spend that particular album? And it's just like it's my absolute go-to when I just want to get back to, this is the perfect combination between something being beautiful musically, like hip hop, just musically, instrumentally being beautiful, the lyrics being delivered impactful, but always in a fun and party type of way. Like they never got dirty, they never got, you know, filthy and all of it, but they still kind of showed you can make this stuff hit and just have like you wanted to dance or backspin to that music more than you wanted to do anything else. And yeah, and that like I said, that album to this day is still affecting me to that degree.
Yeah.
Love it.
So good, so good. Yeah, on that first album too. What's funny is that was produced by Thomas Dolby. I talked about Thomas Dolby our last video and how he'd work with other bands and stuff. And crazy that he worked with Whodini. I think there's their first album, I'm pretty sure, the self-titled, and the song Magic's Wand. Remember that one, Mr. Magic's? Yeah. It's all in Mr. Magic's Wand, dude.
Yeah.
That is a banger, dude. Like you said, man, I love that song so much. And then when I found out Thomas Dolby had something to do with it, I think he had a little more to do with it than just production on it. I'm not going to spend the time to look it up right now, but that's crazy, man, that Thomas Dolby has something to do with like the key, you know, the synths and all that stuff on that record. There's a lot of synths on Magic's Wand. So such a great one, man.
Yeah. Gosh, I love that album. That never gets old.
And with Whodini, it's all about the cassette tapes for me, man. It's all about the boombox, because of that little period of time in the mid 80s when we had the boombox and stuff, and like you know, and you'd get the tapes, cassettes, and that's what I was into, man. Like all that stuff for me was all on cassette, because then not only could I hear it on the boombox so that everybody could hear it, but I also had it on the Walkman, you know what I mean? So that I could walk around and listen to it and everything.
See, I think that was kind of the magic too of Whodini. I mean, they weren't at the very, 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 very beginning of hip hop, but they were right there, so to speak. Yeah. And I think they were one of the first groups, probably kind of talking about bringing Dolby in, that actually did step up the production level of what they were doing. So even when you listen to it now, it doesn't sound like quote unquote old. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe the subject matter they're rapping about, or you know, that type could sound old, but it sounds like something that was pretty well produced. Like I was saying before, it's very musical. You know, you could do a
Right.
complete instrumental of the album, and you would still enjoy sitting back and listening to 100% instrumental because it was really, really good stuff, well produced.
Yeah. Yep. Well said, dude.
Love it. All right. How about the Clash?
Oh man, Clash. Woo. Well, the Clash goes back to like, for me, it goes back to like Rock the Casbah.
Right.
And I remember like watching that video being so, this would have been like, I, I don't know when that song came out, but it has to be early. I mean, that's got to be like 82 or something, or 81 or 82 or something,
Something like
maybe.
that.
And I remember just watching the video, and I remember sitting next to he was my uncle. He was only 3 years older than me, so kind of like a cousin or a brother, but it's my uncle. And I remember him saying, you know, rock the Casbah, but the way he was saying rock, it sounded like he was saying the F word to me. And we're watching the video, and I'm looking around, and there's my grandma and my dad and my brother, and we're watching regular TV, and he's like, is he saying? So I lean over to my uncle. I'm like, is he saying F the Casbah? He's all, no, he's saying rock the Casbah. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, that was such a great song, dude, with the piano and everything in that and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was this whole, I know a lot of people don't consider them to be punk, right? And, you know, and they're post-punk. I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, they
Right.
kind of have these punk roots and stuff, but it's, you know, it's post-punk. And then they went on and did Big Audio Dynamite, which is even poster-punk. But yeah, I always liked the Clash. I wasn't someone that owned the records back in the day or anything like that, but Rock the Casbah was huge. This is Radio Clash is huge. There's a bunch I'm not gonna be able to remember, but like all their greatest hits, man. I loved all that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
I was and still listen to it and everything. I wish I could think of another one, but anyways, yeah, all great stuff, man. And but Rock with the Casbah was one that kind of started, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people from our generation, that was probably the one, because it's like that was on MTV and stuff, and you see them all outside, kind of industrial looking, if I remember correctly, kind of open and doing that whole thing with the piano. It was so catchy, that tune and stuff, you know, very poppy. So yeah, that's kind of my memory of that, dude. And even though I'm not like, I don't consider myself a Clash head by any means, it's like I'll go through the greatest hits with you any time of the week, right? So yeah,
right. Yeah, I think the thing with me with the Clash is that I think I really grew into them. I think like back then when I did see the video for Rock the Casbah and all that stuff, I mean, it was like, it's okay, but I don't necessarily get it. You know, at least I didn't back then. But as I definitely got older and got more into the Clash and actually dove into their stuff, the creative nature and kind of the cool nature of what they were doing with stuff like Rock the Casbah started to make so much more sense to me, and I started to appreciate it so much more. That it's kind of like you were saying, like they're not exactly punk. It's kind of going into like the post-punk type of thing. But it's like, but look at the cool way they're doing it. Like they can stay inside of catchy melodies, big choruses that everyone can jump on board, but we can still carry that punk attitude inside of it. Like we don't have to just completely just stop doing what we've been doing, so to speak. And I just think that's kind of like something I wasn't able to appreciate until I got older and a little bit further down the line. And then all of a sudden I start hearing, that and Should I Stay or Should I Go? Or Train in Vain, stuff like that. And it's like, man, this is like really, really catchy stuff, but there's still that raw Clash element to it that makes it's not just like every other thing that pops up on pop radio right now,
Right. Yep.
So yeah, very cool, very unique, very creative band for sure.
Well, and when I really started getting a couple years later, when I'm in high school and I'm listening to more alternative stuff, as we called it back then, Big Audio Dynamite surfaced, and then their record, This Is Big Audio Dynamite, I ended up getting that cassette and absolutely love that album to this day. It's always in my collection. I always need a copy of This Is Big Audio Dynamite. It's so good. And it's so like, even if you wanted to say that like the Clash were kind of like sophisticated punk or whatever, sort of like what people consider like the Police to be, or maybe the Police self-proclaimed to be sophisticated punk or whatever. Big Audio Dynamite's right there, man. It's almost more sophisticated because they bring sampling in, they bring like just a lot of cool electronic drums and just all this stuff, and like very good songwriting. So don't sleep on Big Audio Dynamite, folks. I mean, man, they're coming out of the Clash and stuff, and just that, at least that this is Big Audio Dynamite. I don't like all their stuff, but that album is so good with Medicine Show, and I forget what the other one's called, but just fantastic tunes.
Nice.
All right. So I guess it's the last one for me, for you.
Okay.
And it's an obvious one, but I need to know the full story behind 5150 by Van Halen, our first Van Hagar record. I'm going to leave it right there, man. What's up with this?
Yeah, that was, I can't say it was summer. I think it was during the school year. That album took over my life for like 6 months musically. I mean, I've said this so many times in a row. There was like this 6-month time period where I had a double decker, 2 cassette boombox, where the 2 cassettes that never left was 5150 and EPMD Strictly Business. I could not stop listening to those 2 albums. And I think Hagar coming on when he did was just absolutely perfect. I mean, it was almost like they were playing off of the magic of the synth that had made its name in the 80s. But, of course, when Van Halen came in with 84 and they did Jump and all that type of stuff, it was kind of like Eddie came together on that album, and every song just had some feeling, some experience, some emotion, or some vibe that just felt good every time you heard it. And yeah, that, like I said, that literally took over my life for a good 6 months or so. I could not listen to anything else.
That's so awesome. Yeah, if you hadn't mentioned Dreams, I was going to mention it, dude, because yeah, as soon as you started saying synths, that's the first thing that popped in my head, dude, that intro and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those songs, like so many songs out of the 80s, that something about, Eddie being such a master on the guitar, and then, writing these synth lines and stuff. It's so special. And it's like, there's something very moving about it. That's the thing that I think that stands out about his playing, that if you're just a casual fan, or you may not pick up on, is that like, he's very like sensitive, like playing musically and stuff. And that really comes through even more so, I think, in like his synth writing and stuff like that. And a song like Dreams just exemplifies it. And it's hard to hear that stuff without getting a little emotional about the 80s in a way, and again, I don't know if it's something that people experience that weren't there. If you're in your 30s right now, I don't know, you tell us. I mean, does it still hit you the same way? But it's hard to hear a lot of the stuff that we talk about sometimes. And something like that's really pulling that out of you, because those synth lines are just so crunchy and beautiful. And it's like, it's easy to get a little bit like, oh man, the 80s were so good.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's well said, dude. That's a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have heard, directly from him about it, but I do think there's something to the fact that, like, we know Eddie is a genius and all the music he had in his head and everything else. And it was almost like if he was such an incredible guitar player, was it kind of tough for him to go back to being something so simple of just doing basic melodies, which could his fingers even do that on a guitar? Like, he'd have to like intentionally try to mess up to probably get to something simple. Yeah. It's like a freaking genius. But I think that's what the synth did. Like, the synth almost allowed him to say, you don't have to be all over the place and do things that are making people go, wait, what? How'd you do that? It's just play what you feel what you feel. It doesn't need to be big, doesn't need to be complex. It just needs to make you feel. And right. I get the sense that like that's something that he was kind of releasing with making that stuff, because he did go to the KISS principle, like, keep it simple, stupid, and he kind of did.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to take it for granted, and especially we talk forever about the 80s and stuff, but when you think about all the I could sit here and rip off like 20 songs. You could too, of that just can get a tear out of me. Not necessarily because they're love songs, but just because there's something so they connect me to something from that time that's just so, yeah, I don't know, man. So whatever you want to call it, it's just it, but it I can listen to Journey and start, I can't sing that. I was at the concert singing at the top of my lungs all the way in the back row against the wall, literally tears streaming down my face, man. I'm trying to cover my face so people couldn't see me. And I'm just like, so emotional, and so there's just something about that. And I guess maybe it happens with all of our childhoods, no matter when you grow up. But I know for us, it's the 80s and stuff. And it's just, man, there's just something so special about that. And that can't be easy to do as an artist. I mean, I'm not a musician or anything, but I'm saying like, there's a lot of bad music out there. And so when you hear something that can do that to you and make you feel those emotions or reach in and grab you and pull this out and make you feel some kind of way and all this stuff, it's like, damn, that's like, I don't know. I'm going to sound so freaking cheesy right now, but that's such a special thing and such a gift to be able to give people,
Yeah. 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 Totally agree, man. And there's music just mixed. There's something about the whole vibration thing. It's just like with the way that we exist and, just in this plane, this existence and everything. It's like, yeah, there really is something about, there's just certain ways that certain vibrations of these notes going from here to here to here, when they hit your body, like you said, it's not about being sad or whatever else. I mean, some things will make you think back to a moment and feel. Some things just make you feel, and you can't explain why. But I've always said that's the exact same thing to me, like with someone saying, oh, I love when someone rubs my shoulder, and someone else goes like, it gives me the ever touch my shoulder, like it freaks me out.
Right.
There's not an explanation for it. It's just the way you're wired and your vibe feels good to someone, doesn't feel good to someone else. And some songs can do weird things to you like that. Like,
yeah,
one of the ones I always share is my favorite song is 7 Wonders by Fleetwood Mac. That's my favorite Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah.
When I listen to that song and it goes to the chorus, if I'm not paying attention, it makes me stop breathing. I can't explain why. It's like I have to pay attention to take a breath. And it's like I can't explain why that happens.
You wake up on the floor like, what happened?
Right, but it's just, there's something so beautiful about that moment. And when I'm taking it in and listening to, V and Lindsay kind of answering each other between the synth and his guitar, and I've always talked about, Nick's coming in the background with those little soft hellos that she throws in. Something about that just makes me freeze. Like, it's so freaking beautiful. It makes me freeze. Yeah. I can't explain it, but it's like, who cares? I got the album and I know it,
I mean, that's it, man. It's such a personal thing, right? And that's what I think of, like, any art I think of as like a collaboration. It's a collaboration between the person that created it, put it out in the world, and the person that experiences it.
Right.
And each person that has an experience is going to have a different experience, And yeah, man, I don't know. I could go on for hours talking about that kind of stuff, and it's such a powerful thing. Just some random thought that pops in my head now talking about it is that we're sitting here talking about like how great music makes us feel and just how it can make you hold your breath. It can make you weep. It can make all these different things. You're feeling sad. It can make you feel better and stuff. I've always had a problem with, and this might be this is gonna be a hot take maybe, but I've always had a problem with people saying that music can't influence people to do bad things. So when you have someone that does something bad and then you go through their record collection and you see they were listening to all this like devil stuff, or they were listening to all this hardcore rap or whatever and stuff like that, and it's like, this is so stupid. Music's not going to make someone do that. It's totally ridiculous. And I always felt like, well, why not? I mean, if it can make you feel good, why can't it make you feel bad? If it can make you feel happy, why can't it make you feel angry? Mm-hmm. And yeah, you could say, oh, but those people were already in some kind of way. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, we all have, leanings toward one way or the other and stuff, but could a song be something that puts someone over the edge, especially if they're sitting there listening to it on repeat for hours and then they go out and do something crazy? Now, I'm not saying you blame the song. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, could it influence someone? And so I've always felt like with a lot of things where people say, oh, video games don't make people violent, you know, and stuff. And then they just cut it off right there. It's like, well, wait, think about this for a second. Like, you can't say that certain things make you feel good and then say that, but certain other things don't make you feel bad or angry or whatever. It's like, it's, you know, you got to take the bad with the good with that stuff. And I just think, anyway, hot take, but I do think that people can be just as influenced by something negative as something positive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think anything that makes you feel an emotion, like your actions aren't necessarily completely like you wouldn't say music made me fall in love, right? But yeah, you can definitely say it stimulates something inside of me that made me focus or made me think or put me down a thought process of thinking more about this thing or that thing or whatever the case may be. It's like, yeah, it's an accumulation of all the things in your life, but it's what to ever say like music has no role in maybe people doing things or being pushed, being, I'm going to say pushed, being kind of steered towards a certain path. I mean, yeah, you can't have it both ways.
Right. Well, you nailed it, dude. You said like you go on a date, like you can say it doesn't make me feel in love, but if you're going to go on a date, you're going to play music that's going to get you in the mood for that.
Right.
You're going to go for a job interview. You're going to play certain kind of music in the car as you roll up so that you're in the right frame of mind, dude. And if you're like, man, I hate my classmates, you're going to put on certain kind of music. You know what I mean? It's like, I hate to go down that path, but I'm just saying like, it's right. I mean, I get, in fact, a daydream right here. Music invokes emotion, good or bad. Absolutely. Boom. There you go. Daydream. Exactly right. It's like invokes emotion is the way to say it. I'm not saying it. People are way more influential than people think. There are, you know, hypnotic things going on in the world that steer you around that we are not even aware of. So it's like to think that like, oh no, man, you can't say that music made this person do that. And again, maybe make them is kind of, it's not like it grabbed them but it did appear, you know, it did make them think some kind of way. So
you like you said, you can't have it, you know, both ways where we sit around and talk about, you know, affirmations and if you want to change something in your life, you get over with something in your life, like, you know, you have to come up with new habits and you have to put new thoughts in your mind and you have to, and like we all accept that's how you change directions of something in your life. But like if you do that to go somewhere positive, you can do that same thing to go somewhere negative as well and get negative affirmations that give you these other thoughts that you repeat that start making this new affirmation, which is a negative one. And, you know, so yeah, it's, I mean, yeah, definitely. Like there's no question that it can have that effect.
Yeah.
It's just not like, you know, the whole Judas Priest type of thing where, oh, there's a hidden do it inside of it's like, okay, well now you guys are getting kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
You remember that case?
I don't specifically remember that one. No.
There were two boys that ended up committing suicide, and Judas Priest actually had to go to court because what they were saying was inside of that song "Better by You, Better Than Me," when you played it backwards, that there was something inside of there where they were saying "do it." It's like they were trying to actually prove that it was something hidden in the record that prompted these two kids to, which was just, I mean, of course, Judas Priest won. It was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, but I've always said with that case, I feel like they wasted millions on their lawyers because all their lawyers would have had to have done is say, hey, go get a John Denver record, go get a Neil Diamond record, go get a Willie Nelson record. We can spin these things backwards until we hear all kinds of stuff inside of this. Yeah. Like, was Willie Nelson saying this? Was Neil Diamond saying this? You know, it's like,
dude, if anybody has the ability to take the song, I think it's Mountains, which that's the B-side of Kiss, I think, for Prince.
Mm-hmm.
I spun that thing backwards for some reason. It was right during the time when like people said there were hidden messages, and I was spinning it backwards. He says, I masturbate. When you play it backwards, and I heard it with my own two ears. I have not tried it since that record came out, but I promise you, when you play, everyone should go try right now. You play a thing backwards, he says it. And the funny thing is, it almost sounds like it's like a hi-hat and like kind of hitting at the same time. And And you almost think like it has to be intentional. It has to be. How could it just say that? And anyway, it's wild. So anyway, but so there are stuff like that where things are in backwards on records. And I think they're hidden in there. And Prince had to have put that there intentionally. So anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Mountains. It might be Kiss. Maybe it's the A side. I don't know. But anyway,
did you know the song Missy Elliott, the is it Work It? Is that the name of the song?
I'm not sure.
Flip it out something and reverse it, and then she goes, man, whatever that noise she makes, that Murphy and Mr. Van Yet, or whatever they have.
Yeah.
Do you know if you play that backwards, she's saying whatever she says right before that, the flip it up, flip down, and reverse it. She's actually saying it backwards.
Oh, she's saying it backwards, and then they reverse it to play it forwards. So it sounds like she's saying it forwards.
Yeah, she says it forward the first time, but then when she says it the second time, she actually figured out how to actually say it backwards.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So if you take that second piece and play that backwards, you're like, holy cow, it's her just repeating it when she says reverse
that's
it.
Funny. Yeah, I see it right here. After the line, put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it is literally the exact phrase played backward.
Yeah.
And then it has what she says backwards. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty funny, dude. That's pretty funny.
I had no clue until like recently.
Daydream says Columbine was partially blamed on Marilyn Manson. Yeah, that was a tough one. I didn't want to go there, but yeah, you're right. There's stuff like that where, people will just say it like, hey, man, I was in. Look, if you're unstable and you turn to music and stuff and you start finding things to start bringing, we're magnets, right? You're going to bring more badness into your life and stuff. And pretty soon you're going to go, some people are going to go over the edge, and it's like, yeah. But yeah, I remember somebody asked Zappa, I think Frank Zappa, about something like that, about like, I can't remember what the question was. Do you think that there's so much negativity in the world because of the music that's being put out and stuff like that? And he's like, no, because most music is about love. And if people did the stuff that was in all the records, then we'd have nothing but love in the world, or sex or whatever, talking about like at that point, 50s and 60s music or whatever, and 70s stuff or whatever before, like, I don't know, a lot of things kind of went sideways, but so yeah.
I think in most cases, like music, even music that has like maybe so-called negative stuff inside of it, is actually kind of a big outlet for a lot of people, especially a lot of teens and kids to certain degrees. I mean, you can get too much of anything at some point in time, but sometimes just to give them an ability just to identify with someone or something else, like this person gets me, these group of people get me, and like, how it is when you're a kid, sometimes it's like you freaking need that just at least a little bit to feel like you're not the total complete oddball of the universe.
Yeah, music is kind of this passive way. It's not like reading a book or something. It's like just it invades your ears, and it's a way to like learn about those kinds of things that you're talking about without having to ask. You might be too shy to ask someone around you, whatever, but then you just hear it in a song and you're like, this is my song. You don't even tell anybody. Like, you just feel this connection now, right? It's like, oh man, okay, this guy's speaking my language or whatever. But you can be totally antisocial and still have that experience with music because it's just this passive input or whatever you want to say.
Right. Yeah, and I know I do that for myself too. I mean, because like there are some things that I feel like mentally and spiritually, I do feel can be limits for me. And so yeah, there is music, and there's been music in my collection, and even maybe music that I've heard somewhere that I think, oh, that's kind of cool. But then there's some element about it where it's like, but I don't need to let that into my life. Like that's just something that I can really enjoy my musical world and not invite that in. And it's not because it's going to make me go do something crazy or something like that, but it's also like, no, there is some connection to, just from my personal belief. Like, I believe everyone has a soul, and I believe everything that you encounter in some way, shape, or form impacts that. And there's some things maybe you have a stronger resistance against or doesn't phase you. And like the example I would use for that is kind of like, I've never drank in my entire life, right? So I've never been drunk, never even had a buzz or whatever. So if myself and a recovering alcoholic both walk into a bar to hang out with some friends, it's not the exact same experience for him and me. Like
Yeah.
for him, it is something he needs to protect his soul against. And I can't go to that bar. I can't, with me, it's like I have no idea what that's even about. But and so
Right.
yeah, I think like everything in life kind of affects us that way. And I think the same thing when you start talking about music and lyrics and vibes and what are you allowing to speak to your soul and that type of thing, on such an intimate level, like we were saying before, how deep music can imprint on you and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, to me, that means you do need to pay a little bit of attention of what's going into you if it's something that really, really imprints on you like that.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Exactly. And I think speak for myself is that like I'm very much a person that evolves over time or things goes up and down. Life is like a seasonal or a wave or whatever. And there's times where there's times like I'll use horror for an example. Like I want to see all the horror movies and all this stuff, and that's kind of for me. That's kind of a small window. Like when I'm in that window, like I know I got to catch that stuff because I know it's going to catch up to me, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to be. I don't. And then there's a large part of my day and my life or whatever the year that I don't want to see that stuff or think
Yeah.
about it or whatever, you know what I mean? And so it's like, but it's like that with a lot of things, like with music and stuff. So yeah, you find yourself kind of going through these different seasons of your life,
Right.
where at one, anyway, I was going to use drinking as an example. That's kind of a bad example because, it really is kind of an illness, if you just, I know people that have gone through it and stuff, and it's like, more than just drinking, but other, substances like that. And it's like, I feel very fortunate that I don't have the same addictive tendencies toward that kind of stuff. Like I have smoked a joint, I have drank, but I've never, ever, I've even smoked a cigarette, here and there, but it was never the kind of thing where ever for a moment I felt like, oh shit, this has got me. Like I don't, or I need to quit or this is too this or that or whatever. Like I would just, I don't know. I never felt like it had me. And even if I drank, I would drink socially and stuff. And there were times where I would get drunk with my friends or whatever. And then as soon as I was like, okay, that's over, it was just over. Like I just didn't drink anymore. And now I haven't had a drink in like, I'm speaking as if I was an alcoholic, but it's like, I wasn't at all. But it's like, I chose just not to drink at all. And now it's been years and I haven't had a drink, even a glass of wine or something.
Yeah.
I don't know the point I'm trying to make, but it's just people are different, right? Like you said, some people, man, I hate to say, no, I'm not even going to mention it. Someone I know, but anyway, I don't know what that has to do with what we were talking about, but
I know we're trying to go off on tangents.
Went on a tangent.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yep. I got right here in the back. Let me pull this out. I was kind of thinking what another idea for like a show would be stuff that you wouldn't normally have on vinyl, or you don't have any like relationship to it on vinyl, but I still have it on vinyl, if that makes sense. So this is the Incubus record, right? This is Make Yourself. This is the music on vinyl edition. I first heard this on the radio and then bought the CD. Love it. I love this album, Make Yourself by Incubus. It's freaking great. But I don't have any connection to the vinyl. In fact, it came out during a time when vinyl was barely hanging on by a thread. It was like 2000 or something like that. But I recently was like, I want to hear this, and I want to have it on vinyl. Like that's how I listen to my music now. Honestly, I don't have a CD player. I don't have a cassette player. I could just stream it, but I'm like, man, that's cool. And it's cool because now I have what was once on a CD is now this big, cool piece of artwork from the early 2000s that you and I talked about this. Just kind of, there's very much a style from that era, like early internet and graphic design kind of style that went into some of this stuff, like by Filter. I think even maybe some of the Foo Fighters stuff, Bjork stuff, like the back of her covers and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is one like that. Anyway, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. It's like, this isn't something that I should be owning on vinyl, but it's like, I was like, you know what? I want this on vinyl, man. It's cool. So the whole thing I'm sure was recorded digitally. There's no analog aspect to this except in the reproduction of it when I'm listening to it, so I don't know. I'm just curious. I wonder what you think about that or what people think about that, where it's like, I have I can pull out something else here too. Let me pull it out quickly. Stuff like this, which is electronic music, which here we got Boards of Canada. Here we got this awesome Plaid, by the way. This is not a cheap record. But this stuff came out, you know, in like the late 90s, early 2000s stuff. It's all digital. This is made on a laptop, right? But I'm like, I really want that on vinyl. What is that? What is that weird thing, man? You know?
Well, it's just it's that ownership piece. You know, it's like you already love the music, right? That like
Yeah.
all that stuff has already been established, but it's just like now I can actually own the artwork. I can own the just all the physical elements that go along with playing vinyl in the first place, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's just fun looking at it, and like I said, it's kind of like that's kind of how I listen. Like only time I listen, I don't really listen to music that much in the car, but when I do, it's obviously digital, or I'm just streaming it, you know. But other than that, like when I'm in here in the house, like I'm listening to records. So if I want to hear something, um, you know, and if I guess I don't know if I love it enough, then it's like, yeah, let me go ahead and get that. The killer part is that that stuff from that era is pricey. It is pricey, dude. So you're getting, you know, building up to build an electronics. You know, some of these people like DJs and stuff that buy this stuff and everything, like especially if you live in the U.S. because a lot of these records were mostly printed like outside the U.S. and stuff, and it's like you're gonna pay $100 easy for these records and stuff, and it's like, whew, man. But it's kind of the treat that I give myself. It's like, you know, I spent, you know, usually 10, 20, $30 on records. I'll spend 100 on this one record, you know, or whatever. So
I actually kind of got one sitting here that falls into that same thing you were just saying. You know, one that even at the time, like no, let's just say no one, I wasn't buying vinyl. I never experienced it on vinyl or anything like that. It was always through CDs. But it's this one right here,
oh, cool.
Boomerang soundtrack. You know, I mean, this came out in 1992, and so you know, of course, at that point in time, like I'm a sophomore or whatever in college, and yeah, it was cassettes. I guess I was still into cassettes. I hadn't really started buying CDs yet because I didn't have the money. It wasn't until my senior year in college I actually started buying CDs.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was one of those ones that as soon as I saw there was actually an option on vinyl, because there was never a U.S. pressing of it. There was like a South Korean pressing, and then two other just random ones, like a Brazilian and something else. But yeah, I was able to finally get my hands on one, and just, I mean, it's the song wise, it's very nostalgic because it is going back to an old movie that was just one of those classics that I love so much. That early '90s Eddie Murphy, which of course is hilarious. But of course, you have, you know, the song "I Would Die Without You" by PM Dawn, which was they did specifically for this particular soundtrack, so it's not on any of their studio albums. Which we were talking about a moment ago about emotions, just kind of wondering why songs do what they do to you. That is like a perfect example that there is something about that song that is just so creepy, yet sexy, yet so chilled and laid back. It's just this real dreamy kind of thing, and they just nailed it on that track. But yeah, a lot of good stuff on there. But yeah, kind of exact same thing you were saying about that Incubus. Like vinyl has nothing in the world, never been associated with that album or movie in any way, shape, or form. But as soon as I knew there was one, I was like, oh, I gotta find a good one.
Yeah. The funny thing is that we've talked about this before, and you've said the exact same thing. It's like I don't know why. It's not every record. It's just certain things, and I can't even describe why I can have like the same feeling and listen. Let's say you take a time period. Let's say the late mid '90s, and I listened to 100 records, and I had the cassettes or the CDs, and I could care less about ever having it on vinyl. But then there's these like handful that I'm like, oh, I could see having that on vinyl, and I can't even tell you why. I don't know. It's such a strange thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I figure it's like one of those things, like going on vacations or whatever. Like, you know, you can be curious about a place, and say, yeah, I like to look at some pictures, look it up on the internet and kind of read about blah, 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 but I don't feel like I need to go there. But then it's like, oh my gosh, I have to go see that. Like that is
Yeah.
just like that I have to actually see in person. But the
Yep.
same type of thing, I think.
Yeah.
No rationale to it. It's just something you feel.
Yep. Well, it's always nice when they put out, reissue something on vinyl that maybe never made it on vinyl before, is that when they do it right and it's got nice artwork and great inner sleeves and all that stuff, and you can at least appreciate, I don't know,
Yeah.
it feels like it's at least you're getting your money's worth, because usually that stuff's going to be pricier.
Yeah. And I can always tell too, because yeah, there's things that I want, but it's like it's always fun to walk into the shop when new releases and stuff have come out and just to notice how I feel when there it is.
Yeah.
And like sometimes there's been a couple of times I've like literally lifted the record above my head and just like ran through the aisle down the store, just being silly or whatever. But it's like at the same time, I'm kind of that excited about this. And
Yeah.
other times it's like, oh, finally, okay, great, I have that in the collection now. But that's not a run through the store type of excitement, and I don't know.
Yeah. Does it matter to you when that happens, when you have that feeling? Does it matter to you if it's an original or a reissue, or it just depends on the record, or?
In most cases, that feeling is about a reissue.
Okay.
Like I can be happy to find an original pressing or something like that, but even then, it's still like those are made, those have been out there. It's just I've been waiting for one. Oh, finally got one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I honestly can't think of an original press that has come in the store where I found it and was like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
But going down, late 90s, early 2000s, $35 reissues, I can think of a few of those that I'm just like, oh my God, finally, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny, man. It's cool. I mean, yeah, same thing. I'll be usually more excited. It doesn't, the price of it doesn't matter to me at all. Like I've gotten like, I forget where I got it. I must have I bought it online, I guess. But I remember when I picked up my copy of Footloose and it was sealed. Or did you get that? I can't remember how I got that. But anyway, it was a sealed copy of Footloose. And I just immediately cut it open and I was just like so excited that I had Footloose. I want to hear Footloose. I want to hear Let's Hear It for the Boys. I want to hear, all that stuff. It's like, I care less about any of the other, it was like $10 record or something, it's like, I'm just happy to have, it's just, and I know we talked about the movie. You're not a fan. I love that movie, dude.
That's still my one, man. I don't know.
That's funny, man. Yeah. Same thing with like Back to the Future. Same thing with, Star Wars and all. I just love having yes, 80s soundtracks, man. I know you got a pretty big 80s soundtracks collection.
Oh, gotta have it. But yeah, it's just like thinking about what we're just talking about, like, what makes you excited. Like the two albums I remember being so excited about, three albums I think about being so excited about being reissued. And one was actually an unofficial pressing. And it was the soundtrack to Rockstar, that movie with Mark Wahlberg. It's like I had no idea that an official had even been made. And I remember walking into the store one day and seeing that, and Billy was like, "Oh yeah, we got a batch in of imports the other day," and I was just like, "Oh my God, finally!" I mean, and then I did the whole hold above my head and kind of run through the store. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I've taken albums out of that store that are worth 10 times that album, and maybe 10 times as rare, so to speak. But yeah, there's something about that one I'd wanted on vinyl for so long. Or even more recently, Blue October, when they reissued Foiled. I mean, that's not even anywhere near like my favorite 90s or 2000 early 2000s or whatever album. Like it's probably not even on my top 50 list of albums from that time period. But why did I want that thing on vinyl so bad? I don't know. I just did. And sure enough, as soon as it popped up, I'm just like, it's here.
Yeah, like a little kid.
Yeah.
Can't Man, actually, you making me think like this is a total tangent. Not like this whole show hasn't been a tangent, but I lost all my pictures when I moved one time, man. And I was so sad because I had some great ones. And now with like social media and stuff, it's like, I wish I have, oh man, I had all these photos that would be cool to show on like Facebook groups or something. Like me as a 5-year-old playing with my Star Wars toys, or me, playing video games. I had like my Dungeons and Dragons, and I just all these cool photos that like you see people posting stuff like that now. It's like 40 years old, and you're like, oh man, I had photos like that. But one of the photos that was so great was Christmas morning. It was probably 1981, and I got the Atari 2600.
Ooh.
And I would have been like 9. I guess I just turned 9. And I had the box in my hand. Like we just made me think of it. You're saying like, and it was big, like because I was, smaller.
Right.
And so I'm holding this massive, and the look on my face was just like, oh my God, as I'm holding this Atari thing. And it was a great photo. I'm so sad that I don't have it anymore, but that was the moment, dude. Like it was like Christmas, man. And like something like that, you're 9 and everything, and you tear it open and it's like, oh my God. That's the same kind of feeling that we get now as adults, right? We walk in a record store and flip it and see something we want. It's like, no way. That's how I felt when I picked up like Music for the Masses by Depeche Mode. I was like, dude, no way. $30. Yes.
Man, good stuff. Yeah, I think my mom still has. Matter of fact, I need to have her dig that out for me, because I think she still has a picture. You always know about Billy Idol Rebel Yell for me in the first cassette I ever bought out of the store and all of that. She has a picture of me holding that up the day that I got it.
Oh, no way, dude.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna send her a message as soon as we end this. I was like, Mom, I need you to pull that picture out.
Like, you need to get that and stick it in the sleeve, or stick it with your cassette or something, man.
Like that's one I need to take somewhere and actually get blown up and like frame it and hang it on the music room, hang it in my music room, because like this is where it all started.
100%, dude. You have to do it.
Yeah, I gotta do that.
That is so cool, man. JD Money in the house. What's up, baby? First pressing of Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies on vinyl. Sounded awesome. Wish I still had my Hendrix albums. Oh man, I love that album, dude. I gotta, I mean, it's one where, and my collection comes and goes. I've made it clear on this channel. Like I love records more than anything, but sometimes they gotta go, and then I gotta, they come back. And that's one of the, anytime I'm rebuilding Band of Gypsies, it's the first Hendrix album. In fact, right now, only Hendrix album in my collection right now is Band of Gypsies. Phenomenal record, man. We get to hear live Hendrix, and stuff. And it was, obviously there's lots of live Hendrix now, but at the time you had 3 studio albums and you had Band of Gypsies, man. And I wasn't there for it. I'm not, I wasn't there for it. I wasn't born in the 60s, but nevertheless, it's like, even when I was young, it was like CDs weren't around and stuff. And like, that was the one in live Hendrix we got anyway. Yeah, that's cool, man. JD, you got to pick that up, baby. Carlos in the house. What's up, baby? Second hour. Thanks for showing up, guys. I feel like something else is usually going on the first hour we're on, and we don't get that much traffic. And then like second hour, people come in, man. Hey, good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. But Band of Gypsies, man, fire all the way, all day long.
Great album.
Yeah, I was listening to that, man. I hate to say it, my memory's fuzzy. I should just lie and act like I know exactly what, but there was 2 albums that one was a Band of Gypsies, which was recorded on New Year's Eve, and then there was like the Grateful Dead that do like the they always do New Year's Eve shows and stuff like that. And I remember the 2000. It was 1999 going into 2000, and I was gonna play a CD, and I was gonna try to time it where it would turn midnight or whatever. I think it was Band of Gypsies, but it might have been Grateful Dead. I can't remember, but I remember I'd have it on and I was just vibing out, you know what I mean, and stuff. And it's like, you can hear people are launching their fireworks. And I was just at home by myself, chilling on the couch, waiting for midnight, back when I still waited until midnight, listening to like Jimi Hendrix, man. It was so cool, man. It was so cool. Swifty in the house. What's up, baby? You can always scrub back, but we're glad you're here. Stay live. Today was kind of what would you call it today? It was kind of a free for all today. We didn't have a big plan.
Just yapping.
just yapping.
It's funny, like you're bringing up memories now when you're talking about New Year's Eve and all of that, because especially like back in junior high and kind of early high school, there was nothing, you didn't go out to do anything for New Year's Eve or whatever. And by the time I got to high school too, I had my own room because my sister had graduated, went and stayed with my grandmother and all of that. So like it basically, my room then looks just like my music room now, just on a smaller scale. But it was the same thing about just like creating my world. And that was, so like the weekends would come, it was a blast to be in my room, man. It's like I had, again, the 13-inch black and white TV, I had the VCR, I had the boom box, I had all the music. And I remember like the New Year's Eve, there was always that stuff. They were, some channel, like it probably wasn't VH1, but whatever the channel was back at the time, because they would have like all these different performances. And I remember the last one I can remember so vividly was the one that Sam Kinison hosted, where he actually did Wild Thing like right before New Year's Eve struck. And it was just like, this is a freaking blast. Just go in that room and shut the door and just, man, have a great time.
Sam Kinison, dude. Oh, man, see, now you're bringing stuff up. Dude, I discovered recently, and this is going way too far back, but do you remember, I guess they started doing it around 1970, but it went through the 70s and the 80s, and it was the Battle of the Network Stars, I think is the title of it. And it was basically a bunch of challenges, and they would bring people on. It'd be like people from Happy Days, people from Three's Company, people from Chips, people, whatever it was, depending on that era. Tom Selleck was on there. And it was, and I don't know if you know who Howard Cosell is, but he's the guy that used to do like football games and stuff, right? He had a very kind of unique.
Howard Cosell. Yeah.
This is Howard Cosell coming to you from, and all that, right? Well, he narrates these, and they'll do like, they'll play football, and then they'll do like bike racing, and then they do like this obstacle course, and it's all the stars from that time. It's so cool, man. And it's Howard Cosell. And it's so funny because, used to Howard Cosell saying, and Frazier's down. Ali just knocked out Frazier. But he's going like, and now they're rounding the corner, and Scott Baio takes the lead. And now Scott Baio is, and it's hilarious to hear how those words come out of Howard Cosell's mouth and stuff. It's so good. Mm-hmm. And then they interview everybody, it's like, how do you think you can do today, Tom? And Tom Selleck's like, I don't know, man. I didn't do great last time. And you got some good competition. But it's like all your favorite shows from like the late 70s, early 80s are there. And all those actors, I don't know, man. I started binging it, dude. It's so good. They're kind of long. Like they're like an hour and a half or something, because they rip out the commercials and stuff. But dude, I had forgotten all about that. Do you have any memory of that show at all? Did you ever watch those?
Yeah, I mean, especially the more you're talking about, it's like I totally remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy seeing that. And it's crazy that even now, after I've sat around looking for things to get nostalgic about, forever, that something can still surprise me, you know what I mean? And stuff. And when that just somehow popped up in my feed on YouTube, and I was like, no way, dude. I remember these, man. It was so cool. It was crazy.
Oh man.
Swifty says, I remember them interviewing Telly Savalas poolside in a Speedo smoking a cig. Yes, dude. They're all wearing Speedos. That's true. Then they went on to dominate the swim race. Yes. And then it's all of the like stuff you would not see now. Like guys kissing girl, whatever. They'll do like a meet and they'll go up and kiss them on the mouth. Like Howard Cosell is like kissing some of these actresses and stuff, and you just feel dirty watching it, man. You're like, bro, come on. Like that stuff would not fly today. Some of it, there's something very kind of sweet about it, because it is a world that we don't have anymore, which is kind of the relationship between like male, female and stuff.
Yeah.
When it comes to public, whatever, displays of affection and stuff among people that aren't in a relationship. But then some of it is creepy. I know. Mr. T was on an episode, dude. You have to check it out, man. It's so great. And they do this like where they throw at the target and they try to dunk somebody into a water tank.
Yeah.
They have that on there. And yeah, it's awesome, dude.
Man.
Yeah, Swifty, absolutely. It's Telly Savalas poolside in a Speedo smoking a cig. You'll never see that again. So the only way to get that is watching these shows from the 70s, man.
I'll tell you the one that used to get me, like when you mentioned the kissing thing, the first thing that came to mind, who was the guy that originally hosted the Family Feud?
Richard Dawson.
Yeah. That dude had to be a perv, man.
I was thinking the same thing, dude. Yes.
Man, the way he would lean over and pucker up, he looked like a freaking cartoon character.
To every girl that's
every single chick.
Hello, darling. Give us a kiss. Yeah. And the women are trying to act like they're not grossed out. They're like smiling. Yeah, thanks. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't an attractive guy. I don't know, but I mean, it's just, but it was just accepted back then, right?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't just, I mean, on the mouth. I mean, it's like, I barely kiss. No, I'm just kidding. I don't, because she just walked in. I barely kiss my own girlfriend on the mouth, dude. How are you kissing? No, got a reaction out of her. But it's like, seriously, dude, I'm not kissing a stranger. We just had COVID. Come on, dude. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's that's perfect. Richard Dawson, dude. Yeah, he was like one of the famously kissing every woman that came his way.
Anytime I think about that old school weird kissing, Dawson's the first one. Because I mean, most of them, all of them did it, but he was the one that just like, take a picture of this.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez, right on the mouth.
Well, I've always heard stories about the guy from is it Let's Make It? No, what's that one called? The Price is Right.
Price is Right, yeah.
I don't remember his name, but did he have like affairs with like the ladies that were on his show or something? Or I don't know. I heard some stories about that. I don't know how true they are, but maybe someone in there.
I would guess he did.
Yeah.
I know,
right? Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have no clue.
Not that crazy. Richard Dawson was drunk as hell all the time too, says Swifty. Yeah, the thing is about Richard though, I love Richard Dawson. I know. But he was so good on that show. And he was in Hogan's Heroes. Did you ever watch Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah, I remember that.
I used to watch the heck out of the show. He's good in that too. So yeah, I mean, I kind of am a fan, but yeah, he was it seemed very creepy. Well, now we got what's his name? Comedian for Family Feud. What's his name?
Oh,
I keep wanting to say Cedric the Entertainer, but no.
Yeah, no. Jeez, brain fart. You got Cedric, you got Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, thank you. Yeah, Steve Harvey. And it's a whole different thing, but he's great too, though, man. He's great too. And now they set people up with like the questions they ask, you know, it's like just try to get people to say the wrong thing all the time.
Yeah. That was funny. How do we get off on this tangent? Remember the dating game?
Oh yeah.
And what was that guy's name that hosted?
So is that the one with Pat what was his name? I want to say Pat Sajak. No, it was
not Chuck Woolery, was it?
Chuck Woolery.
Chuck Woolery was the one that did like the regular dating game with one man and one woman going on the date. Right. What was the one where it was the couples, like 4 couples? We'll
be back in 2 and 2. I think you're talking about the married. It had marriage in the title or something. It was newlywed game. Yeah.
Man, that dude, I don't know why his name is slipping my mind. You go back and watch.
What's the strangest place you and your husband ever had a whoopee?
Dude, that guy was
the Love Connection, dude. Swifty.
Yeah, Love Connection.
Yeah, that's the one, dude.
We'll be right back. The newlywed game, man. That dude. They already had I have so many thoughts going through my mind. Number one, you realize people were a lot more stupid on average than they are now. I think they had more common sense. They didn't have as much knowledge about stuff, definition of words and stuff like that.
Right.
They were definitely more common sense people back then than we are probably today. But he would ask a question that he would know is going to throw somebody off. And when they got thrown off, he didn't stop and correct it. He would just roll with it.
Was that Bob Eubanks? Is that the guy? That's what Michael said, Bob Eubanks. That's him, right?
I think it's Bob Eubanks.
I think that's Bob Eubanks, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's just some of those things you would watch, and it, it's just so hilarious.
Yeah, that was a great one, dude. That's a great show. I told you, I texted you. I was like, we should do a Newlywed Game spinoff somehow, where like see how well we know each other. But as soon as I said it, I was like, it just sounds creepy.
There's always that really famous one where he asks the couple, is like, where would your husband say is the weirdest place you've ever had a desire to make whoopee?
Yeah.
And the woman goes, in the ass?
I know, I remember that one. So funny, dude. No, like where would you be? Like a car? Like yeah. Oh my gosh.
So funny.
Yeah, that was a great, dude.
Those were good times, man. Jeez.
The guy from Joker's Wild always creeped me out. Who was that guy? Joker's Wild. I remember that too. That was the one with the 3 cards or something, right? Oh, they flipped the cards over. Yeah. Higher or lower. And it was like on a timer or something. Yeah. That was actually a pretty fun game. Dude, I haven't thought about Joker's Wild in forever.
In a long time.
Did you ever used to watch, this wasn't really a game, I guess it was kind of a game show, but The Gong Show?
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about going back. The 2 early ones I remember were The Gong Show and Make Me Laugh.
Yeah.
And I think some famous people were on Make Me Laugh. I can't think of any of them right now, but they'd go like people that became comedians and actors that would try to make people laugh and stuff.
The best part of the Gong Show, man, was when Gene the dancing machine would come out.
Oh yeah.
Man, I remember as a kid, I would just lose my freaking mind when you're just watching the show and like they're just, going through the motions, and all of a sudden that freaking piano would kick in with that doom 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 doom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, it's time for me, Gene, the dancing machine.
Oh my gosh, dude.
That was so good.
That was so good.
Next thing you know, everybody in the house is freaking like, dun, 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 dun. So damn fun and so stupid.
That was so great. Another thing that you'll never see again. Match game was legendary. Gene Rayburn. Dude, all these names we're pulling out right now, man. So crazy. Hollywood Square. So, okay, Hollywood Squares, Michael. So I've been watching these clips because I love Paul Lynde. Paul Lynde. He's the guy that was always the center square. And he was the funniest dude. Like anything you asked him, he'd have a great comeback. But he used to be on the Bewitched show sometimes.
Right.
But he also had his own show, I think. But yeah, he was best, I think, on Hollywood Squares, man. And it was like they put him in the center because they know he's the one that's going to get the most action. He's going to be the funniest guy on there. But yeah, like I'm trying to get other names that were on there. But yeah, it was kind of a who's who of like has been comedians or whatever.
Right,
I don't know.
Right. So funny.
Hollywood Squares, yes. What was J.P. Morgan's claim to fame? Never heard of her before or after. J.P. Morgan. Who's J.P. Morgan?
I have no idea.
You stumped us. I gotta look it up.
Actress or actor? J.P. Morgan, American singer, songwriter, actress.
Dang, Johnny, bringing up John Davidson. He was on that show that I was talking about. But he was also on, okay, so here we go. So John Davidson hosted Hollywood Squares, and Jim J. Bullock was always center square. Oh, am I thinking of a different show? It's the tic-tac-toe game, right?
Yeah.
It might have been a different era. Maybe it was a different era or something. Yeah. But John Davidson was on that show I was talking about. He was on that Battle of the Network Stars, it's called. But John Davidson, is he the guy from what was that show called? It's Incredible or something like that? That's Incredible?
That's Incredible, I think is what it was.
I think he was a host on That's Incredible. Am I wrong? John Davidson, was that him?
Gosh, just take
they had the girl on the Battle of the Network Stars. They had the girl from like Buck Rogers. You have to see it, dude. It's so many great people. J.P. Morgan was one of the judges on the Gong Show. What?
Yeah, I just pulled up that Wikipedia and saw that picture. She was the one that wore like some of the head like little hat type of things or whatever, head
Oh,
wrap,
really?
whatever you call it.
That is a deep cut for me.
Remember they would fight each other to see who's going to hit the gong when someone was so bad.
Yep. Yeah, Johnny Fever remembers. That's incredible, dude. That was a fun show. It was actually there was a female on there too. I don't remember her name, but I'm pretty sure it was John Davidson.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Erin Gray. Oh, so is that the woman, Johnny Fever? That Erin Gray on there? She was on something else too, right? She was on a different show too, I think. Charles Nelson Riley is greater than Paul Lynde. Charles Nelson Riley is pretty good, but I don't know, man. That's a toss up. You're right. Charles Nelson Riley is great. He is great.
Yeah, I remember Whoopi being on there too.
That's like, are you a Beatles guy or an Elvis guy? It's like,
Man.
Paul Lynde was center square as well. Oh, Whoopi Goldberg was on there too. Okay. I always enjoyed Linda Carter on Battle of the Network Stars. Linda Carter, yes.
Wonder Woman herself.
Silver Spoons was Aaron's. Yeah, that's right, dude. This is crazy. See, I love when we start getting down this rabbit hole. Silver Spoons. Whatever happened? What was the kid? Was that Ricky Schroeder? Was that the name of the kid on Silver Spoons? Did he ever, like Jason Bateman went on and he still acts, right? But when was the last time you heard of Ricky Schroeder?
I don't know. I can't really say I have.
A tie. Okay, I'll accept that, Michael. Tie.
Man, these rabbit holes, I tell you.
That is a rabbit hole, dude. Here's the question. Can you go back and watch those shows and still enjoy them? That's the question. Because I know we all want to. We wanted to feel the same way we did back in the day watching that stuff. I'll admit, the Hollywood Squares is still funny because I follow Paul Lynde account, and so he's always in my feed. But I don't know, man. Could you watch Silver Spoons today?
I mean, I'll definitely go back and try. I know this week I watched the first season of Different Strokes.
The whole season.
I'm on season 2 now.
Okay.
And surprisingly, it's so much funnier than I remember.
And what are you talking about, Willis?
I mean, what are you talking about, Willis? But yeah, I mean, there are some great silly lines because some of those shows you do go watch and they are just like extremely cheesy. It's like it's hard to even capture outside of the nostalgia what was so great. Different Strokes,
some do stand
funny.
Up.
It's
all right.
It's actually funny, and being a little more mature, it's easier to pick up on stuff that you probably wouldn't have before.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do all the Different Strokes, and then I also found One Day at a Time on Tubi.
Oh, Tubi! It's all about Tubi. Don't sleep on Tubi.
Don't sleep on Tubi. And I was like, okay, as soon as I finish Different Strokes, I'm going to go back and do One Day at a Time.
If you're watching this, you don't know what we're talking about. There's a channel called Tubi. I think you can download it onto your Apple TV or whatever. And it is free, but you have to watch ads. And it's all the stuff we're talking about. They have all these great 80s shows and sitcoms and all this stuff. And they have a lot of stuff. Yeah. And you could just talk about rabbit holes we're going down, man. You could do that just sitting there with your clicker on a day when you're sick. Oh my gosh, dude. So much great stuff on there.
Tubi loves to give you, like, you're an 80s fan. Here are some of those B-level movies maybe that weren't all that big, but you would love to see again and you can't find on any other streaming service.
Yep.
Tubi is fantastic for that stuff.
100%. Yeah. One Day at a Time. So is that the one with Blair?
No, that's Facts of Life.
Oh, Facts of Life. Yeah.
One Day at a Time is the single redhead mom with the really short hair. She had the 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Their landlord is that guy named, is it Oscar? Was that his name?
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Wow. I couldn't tell you. I know I've seen this, but it's not one I think I watched all that much.
Right. And that's exactly why I'm going to go back and watch it, because I'm the exact same boat.
Yeah.
I have the opportunity now. As soon as I'm finished with Different Strokes, I'm headed over.
Kathy Lee Crosby was on That's Incredible. She was also the original Wonder Woman before Linda Carter. Really? I didn't know there was an original Wonder Woman. I thought it was Linda Carter. So, wow. Did she do the pilot or something? That's crazy. Do you remember OJ co-hosting Battle of the Network Stars and Wait with Bruce Jenner? I just watched that one, dude. I'll be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to the whole thing. I remember Jenner was on there. I remember they mentioned OJ's name, but I never saw him on screen. I need to go back and watch it. But yeah, I knew about that one, and I did see the Bruce Jenner part. Valerie Bertinelli, yeah, that's right. She's the one in One Day at a Time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Dan Halen's wife, yep. Eddie's wife. Oh my gosh, dude. Well, dude, it's like there are times when you can go back. There's stuff that's equally good as there is stuff that's equally bad. What's Happening, dude? That's one of my favorite shows of all time. I loved that thing growing up, and I went back and watched it. Now, that show, maybe it's hard for me to be objective about it because I just get flooded with nostalgia when I see Rerun and those guys, man. And I love those dudes, man. And watching those shows. Yeah, exactly. And dude, Rerun can dance his ass off, man, for a big boy.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's D, the sister D and all that stuff. Ooh. And but the stories are pretty good. Like I forget, was the one I watched the first episode again. It was like one of them was sneaking out of the house to go to a party, and they were supposed to be home babysitting D, I think. And then anyway, it got all messed up and everything. And I don't know, it was a pretty good show, and I love that one. I could go back and watch that. I could the reruns of What's Happening. Yes, absolutely. Ever watch James at 16? James at 16.
Is that
Swifty.
the name of the show?
Is that the show? You stumped me again.
Was that a spinoff of White Shadow or something?
Oh, dude, why did you just make me think of
You remember White Shadow?
I don't. What was that?
Old school. It was kind of like one of those gritty 70s kind of inner city kind of things.
Oh yeah, I never watched that. You were making me think of Knight Rider. Do you remember Knight Rider? I see. That's that show I do not think I could go back and watch.
Yeah,
I loved it at the time.
It was the white I'm sorry, I'm still on White Shadow, like the white basketball coach that was coaching the black team in that black neighborhood.
Yeah, that looks like the dude from What's Happening. The guy with the glasses.
Let's see when that. What year was that? White Shadow, 1978 to 1981. So it was a little bit on the early side.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is old school.
That was the kid from Willy Wonka when he was a teen. On which show, Johnny? Sorry, now we're moving so fast. Now I'm. Michael, Rerun was a locker dancer, very famous early hip hop dance group. Ooh, doesn't surprise me. I didn't know that, but yeah, he gets down for real, man. Like that guy. Yeah, he's awesome. Watching him go.
Bear, I remember that.
A White Shadow was awesome. So yeah, BJ. I don't think I watched that one.
BJ the Bear. God, that's a long time ago.
I recognize the name and stuff, but oh, that just makes me think of Dukes of Hazzard, man. I think I was too busy watching Dukes of Hazzard.
BJ and the Bear. I have not seen that in forever. That was 79 to 81. So that was only a couple of years.
So now we got James. Okay, wait. Am I just rereading this? What happened? I see James at 16 again. I thought the paper chase, says Michael. Did you guys really watch these shows? I need to know. This isn't an episode where you can just go search on the internet and try to find these, crazy shows to try to stump us. Did you actually watch this stuff? The Paper Chase. That was a movie, right? Yeah. Comedy drama. Dude, I don't know this one.
Yeah, I don't remember that one by name either.
Remember that? What was that show? That was the first thing I saw on Tubi when I text you and I'm all, bro, there's this movie on Tubi from the 80s. It was crazy because this guy's dating his babysitter or whatever. What was that?
Gosh. See, now I got My Tutor in my head. And that's not the movie.
Wait, was that it?
No, but My Tutor was a totally different movie. That was about the teenage kid and his tutor. Oh, come on. What was that?
So for people, maybe someone can shout it out. So
Okay.
I remembered as a kid when we had cable, HBO and Showtime and all that stuff in the early 80s. And this movie would come on. My mom would not let me watch it, but we'd always see the preview for it. And it was this adult woman seducing a teenage boy.
Yeah, like late 20s and like 13, 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, they would never make this movie now, but it was when you're a teenager and you see how hot this girl is, you were always like, I have to see this movie. How can I watch this movie? And then I put it on recently because I was trying to think of what it was, and it was on freaking Tubi, dude. And I was like, you got to see this movie, dude. This is crazy. And then I ended up not even watching the end of it. And then we talk, and you're like, that movie was so weird, dude. I watched the whole thing. I was like, no way.
Well, and again, I have to put this part out there because this is always the weirdest thing about the movies. Again, it's total 80s cheese. Like, she's part of a gang that's trying to infiltrate, kidnap the kid, blah, blah, blah. But she ends up falling for the kid, so she likes him. So she seduces the kid initially to get the kid to trust her by letting the kid help her take a bath. And, him watch her and ends up like messing around with the kid. And again, we're talking like a 29, 30-year-old woman and a 12, 13-year-old kid.
And when we say messing around, by the end, they are making whoopee.
Well, yeah. But see, that's the key. She ends up liking him so much that she turns on the gang to save him. So after
I missed that part.
Saved, yes. After the kid's been saved, after she's confessed who she was and what she was trying to do, and I'm so sorry, little Johnny, or whatever else, she makes love to him again before she leaves. And you're like, jeez, what in the world?
I mean, not to be vulgar, but it is every 12-year-old boy's wet dream. So it's like, but it was so crazy seeing that and just seeing like, dang, this is what the 80s were like, dude. They could do anything. Swifty says Alf. Yeah, Alf was great. I think the kid from Alf, was it the kid from Alf? Like Private Lessons.
That's what it was.
If you wanna go back to your 12-year-old roots back in the early 80s and see a movie, go look at Private Lessons. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On Tubi.
I said 13 or 14. He was 15 in the movie. I'm sorry. He was 15.
Okay, he was 15. He was 15.
So twisted. 1981.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, used to watch Alf Swifty. Johnny comes in with Sheriff Lobo was a spinoff from BJ and the Bear. Sheriff Lobo. Dang, dude. So many deep cuts coming through.
Yeah.
Flashdance, the TV show. Irene Cara, I had a huge crush. Oh, yeah, dude.
And then we all...
I remember that being a thing, but I never watched it. Now I have to remind myself who Irene Cara is. I do remember. Oh, yeah.
Oh, What a Feeling.
Once I see her face. Yeah, for sure.
I always remember her from DC Cab.
Oh, with Mr. T, right? Was it Mr. T?
Yeah, Mr. T.
I need to see that again, dude. I haven't seen that since it came out.
Always funny. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you definitely got to go dive back into that one. I've seen that so many times. Never gets old.
All right. Michael says, yes, I watch all these shows. I was actually alive. We were too. I mean, at least for the, we're early 70s babies. So we caught a lot of this stuff. I just didn't see everything. And yeah, you guys this is crazy, man. You guys are awesome with the deep cuts. What about
this?
What about Misfits of Science by Courtney Cox or Manimal?
Those aren't ringing a bell.
Courtney Cox was it? What did it miss? Oh, wait a minute. Was that the first Courtney Cox movie? Manimal sci-fi show, 1983. That's crazy.
Excuse me.
I think I ever watched that one.
Yeah, that one's not
Is
ringing
it
at
a
all.
dude that turns into like a panther or something?
Man,
I'm telling you, man, everything was on the table back in the day. How crazy the idea was, it didn't matter. A TV show, yeah. Yep, I see the Manimal TV one. Yeah, okay, so the other one's a TV show too.
let me see. Man,
Misfits of Science. Yeah, one season. They both got one season. So, who is this dude with the like silver?
Sound familiar.
My God, that is Courtney Cox. Dude, look how young she is. 1985.
In Manimal?
I'm looking at Misfits of Science now.
Oh,
I would check that out.
I feel like I've seen Manimal. Those pictures are really.
I still think everybody should check out My Science Project.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it came out like right after like a Weird Science, I think, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
It's so good, dude. It's so good.
Yeah, I think it was like 80, 84, 85.
Michael says, I remember Manimal. It was awful even back then. So don't try to go back. Okay, we won't. Swifty, similar to Battle of the Network Stars, Circus of the Stars. Okay, now
I remember Circus of the Stars.
I just sound familiar.
I remember that. I gotta go back and watch Manimal, man. I know I've seen that.
Man, you just set me down a whole new rabbit hole, dude. I have a super vague memory of this. 1977? Is that what it is? A documentary? Is that right? Am I looking at the right thing?
What are you looking up?
Circus of the Stars. That's what's her name? Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
All right, I would check this out. But that's 1980s, so I guess it's two different things. But yeah, I think you're probably talking about the 80s.
Yeah.
Show.
How come no one has mentioned Ultraman?
Oh, bro. Ultraman, dude. That was some of the weirdest stuff that we watched back then was Ultraman. What was the one? I know you mentioned it. You know the one.
Oh, yeah, we always talked about Goldar.
Goldar. Yes.
Freaky, man.
What about, do you remember Electra Woman and Dyna Girl?
Electra? I don't think so.
Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, dude. I was a little kid and I only watched it because they were hot. But that show, that's one that show started in 1976, dude. Dang. They were like Batman and Robin, basically, but the female version.
16 episodes. Jeez.
That's it? 16 episodes? Oh, I'm going to go watch it right now.
I'm going
to go binge watch
right
this whole season, dude.
See those outfits.
Oh, man. See, this is what I like, because then you see the see more button and you get to click on it, and then you see stuff like the Bionic Woman.
Airwolf. I remember that one.
This is when it starts getting ugly, when you and I just start searching. $6 Million Man. Did you have that? Okay, so did you have the $6 Million Man action figure?
My friend had one, but I don't think I ever owned one myself. But
he had like a hole in the back of his head going all the way through his eye, and it was like supposed to be some like bionic eye or whatever.
Glass.
I used to have that.
But you got to admit, it was the perfect series where you could take the most non-athletic person like in the world, and it's like, hey, just slow him down and add in some.
Super hearing.
He's running like this.
Yeah, it's the only TV show where to show a guy running fast, you would just show it in slow motion. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl, yes, says Michael. Yes, that's a great one, dude. We got to go back. Airwolf, says Johnny. Yes.
Yeah, Airwolf.
That's a helicopter, right? That's that one.
Yep.
Max Headroom.
Headroom. I remember that was pretty freaking big in the 80s for a while.
That was huge. Max Headroom has a great origin story. I'm not going to remember, but they actually like hijacked a network. They were able to like hack it or whatever, and they would show Max Headroom right during an episode of something. And that was how it got started.
Oh,
and
really?
then they did a show of it and stuff. Yeah. Double Trouble, says Johnny Fever, with the twin sisters who were the sisters of Katie Seagal from Married with Children. I do remember that, dude.
Double Trouble, yeah. I remember Double Trouble. And
Double Trouble. Oh, yes. Well, I also had those action figures. The Star Trek action. Did you ever watch Star Trek?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I almost never got into any of the Star Trek movies outside of like The Wrath of Khan. That's really the only Star Trek movie I've seen from start to finish. Other than that, it was just all series is the only Star Trek I know.
I mean, the original series, yes. I mean, the other series are great too, but since we're talking retro, yeah, Double Trouble, dude, absolutely. Oh man, those girls were so cute. I mean, can you still say that? Back in the day, I thought they were cute. I can't say that now. But 84, 85, I remember that show. So 80s. Planet of the Apes, yep. That's right. I remember that's Katie Seagal. Of course, Married with Children. Did you watch Married with Children?
Oh yeah, everybody did.
I'm sure that's a show you could go back and watch even now, dude.
Yeah. I still go back and watch the Three Stooges on a regular basis.
Oscar Goldman was a $6 Million Man's boss. That's right. What else was he from? He was great in that, dude. He was like a James Bond type dude. Dang, he was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he had a pretty long career.
And they, unfortunately, they mixed up his movies with his TV. I just want to see the TV stuff. Dang, man. He goes way back, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I do remember him. He was cool.
$6 Million Man.
The Rifleman. I don't know. What would I have seen him in? Big Valley. Yeah, I used to watch that. Did you ever watch those Western, like Big Valley and Wild Wild West and all that?
I feel like I seen a little bit of the Wild Wild West, but yeah, I didn't do a lot of Westerns when I was younger as a kid. And my parents didn't do a lot of them either, so I never really caught it.
Dun, 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 dun. I used to love that show, man. Lost in Space. Did you ever watch Lost in Space?
Lost in Space, yeah. Man,
the animated back. Star Trek was with just animated versions of the 60. Yeah, and then those animated versions, just to take it a step further, were actually made into book novelizations by like James Blish, famous science fiction writer, which are supposed to be good. I would try to go back and watch those. Actually, I remember I did watch the cartoon back in the day.
Greatest American Hero. That was a great one.
Oh, bro. That had a great theme song, too.
Oh, fantastic theme song.
So, okay, that's a good example. That's what, here's what hurts some of these shows is you can't always start with the pilot. Greatest American Hero, I'm pretty sure, got a 2-hour pilot, and I could not get through the whole thing, man. I remember that show I really loved it, and I think if I just skipped the pilot, I would have been okay.
Yeah.
But it's just too long, dude. I was like, come on, bro, let's get to it.
Yeah, pilots are hard sometimes.
Was there an Oscar Goldman action figure too? I don't remember.
What remember in 40-Year-Old Virgin, they made fun of him because he had an Oscar Goldman
action they did? Yeah, that's right. Here it is.
Like, is that
I don't think I ever had the
boss.
Look, that when you're a kid and you open that up and the first thing you see is $6 Million Man, you're like, yes. And then you see it's Oscar Goldman. You're like,
he don't do nothing.
You got the wrong one, Mom. You got to get Lee Majors. Animated Star Trek was different stories from the TV series, one of the best written cartoons of the time, and I believe won Emmys for daytime. I'm glad you reminded me of that, dude. I think I'm gonna try to go back and watch those because I do remember really liking them, and I've heard that they stand up. That theme song from Greatest American Hero was the first 45 I purchased. No way, Johnny. That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That's a whole nother topic, dude. It's just theme songs from old show. I mean, there's so many good ones, dude.
Go on forever. My first 45 ever was Debbie Boone. You Light Up My Life.
I remember you talking. That's like our first show. You talked about that.
Dude, I was so in love with her back then.
All right, tell a story about that one.
Well, it was like when I was, these are good old days too, right? Because I didn't eat a lot when I was like really, really young. So my parents would bribe me to eat. So we'll go to the store and buy you something if you'll go to McDonald's.
I don't mean to laugh, dude. We can laugh now. That was a long time ago.
Right. It's like, we'll go to the store and buy you something if you'll go to McDonald's and eat a cheeseburger. What I wouldn't freaking give to have that situation today. We'll go buy you a record if you go to McDonald's and eat a cheeseburger. So I remember I went and ate the cheeseburger and they were like, so what do you want to get? And I remember trying to describe the songs. I'd seen it on TV a few different times. It was like, oh, You Light Up My Life. And so we went and bought that little 45. And I had one of the, flip down record players at the time with the speakers that were attached on the side. Mm-hmm. And dude, I sat in my freaking bedroom just playing that thing over and over and over. And every time it got to the end, I would talk to Debbie by telling her how great her song was, and I was going to play it again. So obviously this music was coming from the speaker, so she was inside of the speaker. So I would just tell her, we're going to play you again. That was such a good, and here, so many, it's like over and over, so many times. I mean,
that was so good. I'm going to play you again.
Yeah, man. That was just like
so great, dude.
That was one of my first two where like a female was cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're that young, all females have the cooties or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie Boone didn't have the cooties, and the first time I heard "Heart of Glass" in the back of my dad's Buick, it's like whoever this chick is, she doesn't have cooties either. She's freaking.
She gets a free pass. It was like wanting Turbo Man and getting Booster. 100%, dude. That's such a good movie. I'd never watched that back in the day. And then I watched it like, I don't know, a few years ago. It was fun, dude. I think that's a pretty fun movie. But because it's so relatable, right? The Cabbage Patch doll of its time. I mean, dude, it was like, I remember those Cabbage Patch dolls came out. I mean, I didn't want one, but all the girls wanted one, and I'm sure some dudes too. And, but it was like impossible to get them. And then people were like, it was the first time I ever heard of like people storming a Target or something, right? Like taking each other out to get something, to get a toy. It was crazy.
Yeah. I heard a crazy story recently, since we're kind of talking about it now, which like, I guess, not Debbie Boone, Blondie, Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Had just was like performed at a club or was hanging out at a club or something. Tell me if you've heard the story before. And was trying to get somewhere, going to another party or event or something. Didn't have a ride, so hitchhike. And like got inside of this car and, was going. The guy was kind of creeping her out. And she kind of noticed that like there wasn't a door handle on the car, and she couldn't unlock the thing. So long story short, she was able to, the window was already kind of cracked. She was able to kind of get it down a bit, reach out and open from the outside. She got out and whatever, and just told the guy to piss off. Come to find out later, it was Ted Bundy.
No way, dude. Are you serious? That's crazy.
I had never heard this story before. But yeah, it was Ted freaking Bundy.
Debbie Harry you're talking about.
Yeah, Blondie.
Yeah. That's
was
crazy, dude.
Taken out by Ted Bundy.
No way. I've never heard that.
Yeah, wild.
That's wild. Believe it or not, I'm a walking on air. That one was just for you, Johnny.
So we're gonna start going down the great theme songs back in the.
Yeah, we could do that. AZ Mick, what's up? Debbie Boone. Yeah, great story, right? Michael, the rifleman Chuck Connors, that show still holds up. The opening credits, Chuck would flip his rifle over and over while looking at the camera and reloading. Epic. There, because of my dad, I actually I know a lot of people, even our age, does never got into westerns and stuff. It's like a generation before us. But because my dad really was into that stuff, man, I was fortunate, or whatever you want to call it, that I saw a lot of that stuff, and so I can hang with it. I love westerns actually, and so yeah, I had to check that out, man.
Yeah, I think as a kid, you almost needed a gateway for the westerns. Like,
Yeah,
I think like you didn't kind of grab them yourself. Like someone had to take you there.
I mean, when you've already been to the moon, I mean, it's like, what's a western? I mean, come on. When you got Star Trek and Lost in Space
Right.
and Star Wars, so okay. What was the show with Jason Bateman? He was on a couple, I think. The
Didn't
theme
you say
song
Silver
to
Spoons?
no, that was the other guy. That was Ricky Schroeder, right? Oh, he was on Silver. Oh, he was on Silver Spoons too. That's right.
Yeah, I thought he was like a
he
kid. I
was
thought he was one of the buddies.
he was. He's the buddy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he also played in the Hogan Family. Did you ever watch that?
Hogan Family. Gosh, I
I don't
know I
remember.
did, but I cannot remember a single episode off the top of my head if my life depended on it.
Maybe
But
it's not.
I do remember the show.
I think the theme song I'm thinking about, I don't think it was a Jason Bateman song or a show. Dang it. What was it?
How does it
Who
go?
is I can't remember. That's why I want to try to think of it so I can remember it. Um the girl that was on the show, she was like blonde and she had short hair. She ended up losing a ton of weight throughout the course of the show to the extent that like she had like health issues and stuff. And I think they ended up letting her go maybe before the show ended. Anyway, I don't know if that rings a bell for anybody, but yeah,
Oh,
she had short blonde hair. And it was a family, like the Hogan family and stuff, or like Family Ties or something like that. But it was a different. The dad was.
it's not ringing a bell.
It's a Silver Spoons Family Ties kind of thing. Speaking into my iPad speakers, I'm gonna play you guys again because that was so good. John, we talking about what you were talking about with Boone, like talking into the iPad speaker though. Debbie Harry in Videodrome. That's right, dude. I need to go watch Videodrome now.
I do not remember that movie.
I don't remember if I ever watched it, but I remember when it came on and there was like it would have like commercials or the ads or whatever and stuff. Alan Thicke literally wrote half the 80s sitcom theme songs. Alan Thicke.
Yeah, him and
That's the dude I'm thinking of. Wait, here's the show.
Him and Mike Post.
He wrote those songs? Alan Thicke, he's an actor too, right? So yeah, he's in. Okay, hold on. We're gonna track this down. 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Oh, come on. He also was a talk show host too, right?
See, so it says he was it Different Strokes, The Facts of Life, some game show things.
Growing Pains. I think it's Growing Pains. That's the one I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of, and I think that has a great theme song. I had to get there. I'm sorry to everyone watching, but I had to figure that one out. I'm pretty sure it was Growing Pains. And that's what, yeah, you're right. You mentioned Alan Thicke. That's him. That's the guy I was trying to think of. He's the dad, yeah, in the show.
Okay, am I the only one that didn't realize that The Facts of Life was a spinoff from Different Strokes?
Yeah, I think I did know. I did hear that.
I mean, I knew the whole Mrs. Garrett thing, so I guess it should have been kind of obvious, but I didn't know I guess never consciously paid attention it was an actual spinoff.
Yeah, that's when I was asking if that. Yeah, I was getting that show confused with the other one. Well, the girl that plays Blair actually has another show now about like toy collecting and stuff, where they go into people's houses that are like massive toy collectors, and then they like show off their stuff and everything. She's the host. So anyway, that's what she's doing now. The Hogan family, but I couldn't give it the time of day. Yeah. Says Michael. Alan Thicke literally wrote half the 80s. That's funny because I didn't know he was a songwriter too.
Yeah,
oh, Robin Thicke's. Oh, Robin. Wait, who am I thinking of then? You said Robin Thicke. Am I getting confused?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, between Thicke and Mike
Alan
Post,
Thicke is the guy.
the Thicke and Post, I feel like they wrote almost anything that had any meaning of any 80s TV show.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I mean, just so much good stuff.
So Robin Thicke is, a songwriter. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Let me look this up here really quick. Like the theme from Hill Street Blues, which is one of my absolute favorites. The Greatest American Hero, that was Mike Post that wrote that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. White Shadow, Magnum PI, The Rockford Files.
Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's a good one too.
Those two dudes wrote everything.
Okay, that's wild. I did not know that. The Valerie show we just brought up. I used to. Okay, so that's the one that became the Hogan family. That's crazy. Yeah, I used to watch the Valerie show.
Yeah, that theme from Hill Street Blues, man, that is an absolute beautiful piece of music.
Oh, that's one of, I think we talked about it before, where that's like the song that would come on right when I had to go to bed. So it's like it was ingrained in my memory because it was like the last thing I heard every night.
Such a nice piece.
The Hogan's was originally called Valerie because Valerie Harper starred and got sick. She left and was replaced with Sandy Duncan, who was known for the Triscuit commercials. I used to love Triscuits, man.
Man.
Next topic, best sitcom spinoffs.
We need to name this episode the most useless information out of any human beings.
No way.
Except the 10 that are here. Except the 10 of us that are here.
Well, there are some great spinoffs. It depends on where you want to draw the line, too. Would you say Mork and Mindy is a spinoff from Happy Days? Or from Laverne? Wait, is Laverne and Shirley a spinoff from Happy Days?
I mean, I would guess technically.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And then Mork showed up on Happy Days first as Mork. And then he got his own show.
Yeah. Mork, I didn't really get. I never loved that, especially that early Robin Williams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can never grasp his comedy, man.
Oh, gosh, I love that show.
Can never grasp his comedy.
But it was like you're bringing me back to a place in time. It was like Mork and Mindy, The Muppet Show, all around the same time, if I remember correct. This would be my night. Mork and Mindy, The Muppet Show, that's incredible. Cosmos with Carl Sagan. Did you ever watch that? My mom would sit and with me and we'd watch that show, dude. The music is by Vangelis, the same guy that did like, Blade Runner and Chariots of Fire and stuff. Oh, that show was so good, man. Carl Sagan was such a great personality. He's like the Howard Cosell of science.
Yeah, I knew the
you said Johnny Loved Chachi. I was going to say that one. So here's why Johnny Loved Chachi came to mind. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Scott Baio plays Chachi. He was on the song. It's so long I have to think about it every time before I say it. Battle of the Network Stars that I was watching. So then I thought he seems so cool and all this. He was great in Happy Days and Johnny Loves Chachi and he's on this show and stuff. So then I go down the rabbit hole, I start looking up, where are they now? Well, I forgot. First of all, Joni and Chachi were in a real relationship in the late 70s into the early 80s. She became a complete druggie and she died from like cancer or something. And he famously tweeted or made a comment about made a comment in an interview or something like, well, that's what you get when you're a drug addict or something like that, which backlashed all over him and all this stuff. So that was sad. I'm like, God, Joni, what a terrible life she ended up having. And then, but Chachi, Scott Baio is like a very sort of, unfortunately, what's the word? Cynical, sort of jaded, he talks about how the worst thing he ever did was make Joni. I hope I'm not breaking anybody's hearts here, but he talks about how like the worst thing he ever did was do Joni and Chachi, because he's like, I could have did anything with my career if I just hadn't done Joni and Chachi, because from that moment on, like I could never not be Chachi.
Right.
And every time I see him, because of course I go down the rabbit hole, I start looking at interviews and all this stuff, and he's just always angry. So anyway, you're welcome, everyone. That's what happened to Joni and Chachi. The Jeffersons spin-off of All in the Family.
Two of the best shows ever right there.
Was that a spin-off? That's crazy.
Yeah, the Jeffersons showed up on All in the Family as George Jefferson, dry cleaner, and when he made it big, that's when they moved to New York and the spinoff happened.
Oh, the Jeffersons was the spinoff. Okay.
Yeah. The Jeffersons, and it was kind of cool too, because like they really did spin it from the standpoint that George, Louise, and Lionel were the same three actors off of All in the Family, went right over to the Jeffersons.
Okay, because one of the people in All in the Family was dating a black dude, right? Is that the guy, or?
No, they were the neighbors that moved in next to Archie. They were just the new black neighbors in the neighborhood.
Okay. Wow, man, that's going back hella far. Yeah. It's hard to.
Matter of fact, I always thought it was a shame that they didn't somehow bring Archie into some of the Jefferson episodes.
Yeah.
They should have had him come for a visit, Mickey Man, because George Jefferson and Archie Bunker were just two of the absolute butting head greats.
That's true. That would have been great, man.
The way they created those characters was like, you would almost believe that's exactly who they were. It's like, it's hard to see the acting in them.
Yeah.
They're so good at it, especially the guy that did Archie, whatever his name was. So good.
Carol O'Connor, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, O'Connor. Then Rob Reiner from that show, right? And then he goes on and does all the stuff that he ended up doing. It's kind of funny seeing him, because at the time that show was out, he was just the goofy dude or whatever. That sort of like, I say goofy. He was kind of the grounded guy in the family too, if I remember correctly. But then he goes
the hippie.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was like the big open-minded hippie.
Right. Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters variety show. Oh God, you just start going down the variety shows.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't remember many of those at all.
And those go back so far too, man. But I don't remember that one specifically. I mean, of course, there was like, was there Sonny and Cher? Is that where like Michael, the Jackson 5 first showed up or something? I think, was it Sonny and Cher?
I mean, I know they appeared on the show. I don't know how early it was in their career.
I can't remember if that was like one of their first appearances, but yeah. How about Search of with Leonard Nimoy? I love Leonard Nimoy, but I don't know if I ever watched that. I know what you're talking about though. It was called Search of, where he was like a.
I don't remember that one.
I don't think I really watched it.
When you think about it,
too, In Search of, yeah.
In Search of. I mean, and like, and when you kind of look at all this stuff we're talking about, like, it's kind of cool to think about, because the late 70s going into the early 80s really was almost kind of like the same thing that was taking place with MTV.
Yeah.
You know, like with how cable was expanding, and everyone didn't just have a clear format of exactly what you're supposed to do. And this works. We try to make something just like it to keep it going. And, you know, it's interesting to see how the ideas were just really starting to float and expand.
Michael says Cosmos was awesome. Yes, it was. Well, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson came back and redid it, which I always hate when that happens. And, you know, I didn't really watch it. I can't say whether it was good or not, but I mean, come on, dude. I like Neil deGrasse, you know, well enough, but he's no Carl Sagan.
Riptide. It's Simon and Simon. Love it.
Jeffersons was the greatest spinoff from All in the Family. Okay, now I'm going backwards. Also, Maude and Good Times were tied to All in the Family.
Maude is on Tubi.
Oh, really? Which one's Maude?
That was the chick from whatchamacallit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's got. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm seeing the woman from. What is she from? Okay. I think I have kind of. This was a periphery. Yeah. Yeah. Esther Roll was in that. She was in some good stuff too.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't she a
Esther Roll,
mod?
that's Good Times. Esther
Yeah.
Roll.
Yeah. She was on mod.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. From Good Times. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep. It's all coming together now. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? Says Johnny Fever.
Well, then Johnny mentions, what about Riptide and Simon and Simon?
Did you watch those?
I remember those.
I mean, I remember them, but I think I was too. I didn't really watch. I think that stuff was like too grown up.
Yeah. And again, when you say watch, what you mean is you sat down and watched the episodes and you watched the action. I may not have had any clue what was going on or the plot lines through most of it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I watched a number of Simon and Simon and Riptide episodes, just waiting for the action scenes.
I mean, I guess part of the problem is that since this stuff was all on TV at a set time, is that they would compete with each other, right? And so I was probably watching something else on another channel, like if I don't know, whatever. If Dukes of Hazzard was on at the same time, I was probably watching Dukes of Hazzard instead of something else.
Yeah.
Jackson 5 on Sullivan. I don't know if I've seen that.
Yeah. I think we talked about this in another video too, and it just every time I see someone bring up Ed Sullivan's name, I forever think about this now. It's just like with his show and what he brought to the table with not only doing stuff like the Beatles and Stones and the Doors and all of that, but then also the way that he focused on bringing Black artists, and featuring them in a way they had. If you just sit back and think about the hands that Ed Sullivan shook, like I don't know if anyone in America has ever had more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Not necessarily celebrity, but just the who's who of the time. I don't think anyone shook more hands than Ed Sullivan did when it came to that, because it
And you
was.
have people on that like no one else would have, right? Like, and he just kind of like, look, it's my show. This is what I want to do. You told me, you told me about a documentary, and I don't remember if I finished it, but I did start watching that documentary that you talked about.
Yeah, because it's like
It's really good.
I met the Beatles, I met the Temptations, I met the Jackson 5, I met anybody who was anybody during these years, acting or musically. Everyone was racing for the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah.
It's just like, geez, Louise, to be a fly on his wall or his shoulder, funny, I should say.
Because when you're like our generation and thinking about Ed Sullivan, he's the guy that was always kind of parodied, the really big show guy or whatever. And that's all I knew, was that he just seemed very unusual or whatever, but didn't really know anything about the show or anything. And then you become an adult and you can kind of go back and revisit all that stuff. And yeah, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
Let's go full circle. Kiss on the Paul Lynde Halloween special, greatest variety show moment ever. Yes, let's go back. Let's Paul Lynde again. Yeah, that's right, man. I love Paul Lynde. Kiss on there. What's funny is that when as deep as we're going, it's endless because there's so much other stuff. Like I said, it's that battle of the network stars where you see people, all these actors and actresses out of context. There was a lot of that kind of stuff too. It wasn't just the shows. It was like the other stuff they would all do that just no one remembers hardly. You know what I mean? Anyway, and appearing on like game shows or whatever, or just different weird stuff, interviews and I don't know, variety shows and whatever. Kiss, because you made me think of Kiss. So there was a show called Tomorrow, I think. I can't remember the guy's name, but he'd always talk to like science fiction authors and stuff like that. Anyway, he had Kiss on early on, and Ace Frehley. If you like Kiss, maybe you've seen just at least this interview of them. I think the show's called The Tomorrow Show, and it's Ace, super wasted, laughing, joking, just all this stuff, and you can see like Gene and not Peter, but Gene and Star Child, what's his name?
Oh, Paul Stanley.
Paul and Gene, and they're just like Oh my God. They can't
I
they
remember that.
can't get a word in.
I remember
And
that.
then finally the guy from Tomorrow, I wish I could remember his name because I love his show, said something like, he's all he goes, so what are you supposed to be, Ace? A spaceman or something? He's like, no, actually I'm a plumber. And he starts that, and he's all, and then he actually walks right into it. He goes, oh, well, I got a piece of pipe you can help me with backstage. And then Ace looks at him like, did you really just set me up? He's like, well, let me talk. Or what does he say? He says something like, well, let's talk about it. Or I can't remember what he said now. I screwed this up. But it was so funny that and he's like, and you can see the host face like, did I really just say I got a piece of pipe you can help me with backstage? It's funny, man. Anyway, it's one of the great Kiss interviews. Tom Snyder. Is it Tom Snyder? Is he the guy that had that show? Or maybe I'm thinking of a different show. Maybe it's Tom Snyder and Tomorrow is something else.
Was that shortly before they end up?
No, here it is, the Tomorrow Show, and it shows Ace Frehley on the very first thing. That's the one you guys got to watch. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, go.
Oh, was that Tom Snyder? That's the question. Yeah, it was Tom Snyder. The Late Show. Yeah, it was called The Tomorrow Show. Ace Frehley and Peter were hilarious, but also stoned. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Michael. Yes, I don't know. Did I bring that up first or did you? I didn't see your comment, but I think great minds. It is priceless. Swifty says Kiss on the Mike Douglas show, and some old comedian lady was also a guest. Said Gene looks like a nice Jewish boy. Oh, I think I remember that one. That's right. Yeah. Do you remember the one with? I think I brought this up to you before. It was. I think it was Sly Stone and Richard Pryor interviewed. I think, and then he asks Richard like to play the drums and like he's gonna like sing or something. And I don't remember. I just saw the clip of it. I don't know if he ever gets up to play the drums. It seems to me like they get up like he's gonna start playing the drums, but then after that, I didn't see anything. Does anybody remember that? Am I right about that? Was it Sly and Richard Pryor? I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember
that. Adrienne Barbeau in Swamp Thing. 8-year-old Johnny wide-eyed during the bathing scene. Oh man, he shouldn't have told us that. Yeah, we're gonna go look on Tubi and see if that's on there.
She was a hottie. Well, you remember her from also in Escape from New York.
Oh, is she in that?
Yeah, I mean she was beautiful as heck in that.
Oh yeah,
that was in a wasteland.
She was one of those. She was in everything at that time.
Yeah,
she was a big actress at that time.
Yeah, she was awesome. Swamp Thing is one of the movies I need to get on DVD.
You want to talk about hot bath scenes? Fearless Vampire Killers. With what's her name? Sharon Tate, directed by her husband. I can't think of his name right now.
Fearless Vampire Killers.
That is a really good one, and you will never see. I feel weird. I feel like I'm not talking to a camera right now. We don't have people watching, but she is stunning in that unbelievably beautiful in that movie. So, Fearless Vampire Killers. You guys tell me if I'm wrong.
I don't know if I've seen that before.
And she has a bath scene. God, I know. I feel like such a creep.
Fearless I was ready to type Fearless Bathroom Killers. Fearless Vampire Killers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roman Polanski. Yeah, he's the one that
1967.
Yeah. This would have came on like Creature Features or something back in the day. Sharon Tate.
I have definitely never seen horror comedy.
I remember it being fun. It's well done. It's filmed really cool and stuff. It's Roman Polanski, but I haven't seen it. Now I want to go see it. Does anybody remember the Fearless Vampire Killers?
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen that, but it's on my to-watch list now.
Yeah, Gene and Paul were pissed in that. Yeah, you can see them just seething. At first, they're kind of like playing along, but by the time they get through it, halfway through, they're just like, why did you get Ace going? You should have never even started on Ace, man, because now he's not going to shut up. Sly Stone and Ali. Ali wants to punch his lights out. Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I remember that because Ali was kind of defending Sly because Sly wasn't getting as confrontational, and
Mm-hmm.
Ali was like, "Dude, do you know who I am?
Yeah,
Literally
Johnny.
take your life with one punch."
I know. Yep, Roman Polanski. Adrienne Barbeau was Maud's daughter on the show. Wow.
Oh, okay.
It really is 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, man.
No kidding.
But there was so much of that stuff too. What was the one? I don't know how much longer you want to go on this, by the way. I know it's late. We've been on almost 3 hours, dude. Um, I'm not gonna be able to think of it anyway. Well, there was Mel's Diner, and then I thought there was a spin-off there too. We talking about spin-offs. I don't remember what it was now. Did you watch Mel's Diner?
Yeah, I definitely watched Mel's Diner. I was trying to think about, did Alice have a spinoff? Was there a show called Alice?
Maybe that's it.
Maybe I'm just making that
Oh,
up.
yeah, Alice. There was also one called Flow. I don't remember that one. Kiss My Grits.
Yeah, the
Oh, maybe the
Alice.
show was called Alice. Maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't called Mel's Diner. Was it called
Oh
Mel's
yeah,
Diner or
okay.
Alice?
That's where I'm getting that mixed up. Yeah, the show was called Alice.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I got it wrong. Oh, and maybe Flow was the spinoff from Alice. I don't know. My head is.
Yeah, Flow, American sitcom, and yeah, it's definitely Flow. So yeah.
It got 2 seasons.
Wow. I don't know if I ever saw one.
Yeah, I used to watch that though. Alice.
Michael Elliott says rabbit holes abound. There's an infestation.
You get a rabbit hole. You get a rabbit hole. Flow is a
rabbit.
spinoff of Alice. Yeah, there we go, Michael. 5.7 out of 10 stars. That's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever saw an episode of Flow.
That's not the one I was initially thinking of. I'm not going to be able to think of it. It was a woman who basically just worked as a typist or something in an office. And I'm pretty sure there was a spinoff of it. And it was about her and her boss. And plus, I don't remember that much about it.
I mean, a spinoff connected to Alice?
No, it's not Alice. There was a woman that worked as a typist or something. She worked in an office. Maybe for a newspaper or something. I think she got her own show too. The show was her name. I keep wanting to say it's Valerie, but I don't think that's a different show, I think. We already said Valerie. Yeah, that's something else. What the heck was that called?
You're not talking about like early, like Mary Tyler Moore? Mary Tyler Moore?
No, not that early. It was 70s. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore. Yeah, dude. I love that show. Carol Burnett. Did you watch that?
Carol was hilarious.
She was awesome.
She was.
Oh, maybe it was. Okay, dude. Maybe it was Mary Tyler Moore. Maybe I'm faded. Hold on, because now I think that was her. I think it was her.
Okay.
She was great. I love Mary Tyler Moore. Yeah, it was the Mary Tyler Moore show. Wasn't that there was a spinoff?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the dude. Yes. Okay. That's the show I was thinking of. Dude, good catch. You were right.
Yeah, I've streamed a ton. Like we just mentioned though about the Carol Burnett show, man. I've streamed a ton of those over this past year or so, just watching random episodes. I mean, yeah, that woman was just pure comedy. Just a true comedian from every cell in her body.
She's so sweet too. I love watching her interviews and stuff. She was on with, okay, what was that guy's name? That did the interviews back in the day. He interviewed, okay, I remember an interview with, he was like the 60s and the 70s. I know you've seen him. As soon as I hear his name.
Yeah.
He was a big interviewer in like the 70s. I got to keep watching chat. Someone's going to know it. Yeah, Mary Tyler Moore. She throws her hat into the air. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I used to watch that. That was a show I used to watch a lot as a kid. Ed Asner. Yes. He was so great. Yeah. Oh, that's the guy from the other show we were talking about. He's Mel in the Mel's Diner.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
Mel's Diner, but I messed up. But yeah, he's that guy.
Alice.
Yeah, Alice. Right.
Yeah. Oh, with the Mary Tyler Moore show, remember, you can't forget Tim Conway and Vicki Lawrence.
Yep.
Remember how freaking funny they were?
Vicki Lawrence, dude.
Harvey Korman. Oh my gosh.
And that is a spinoff because Vicki Lawrence got that show. What was it called?
Mama's Family.
Mama's Family. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but Conway and Corman, those two were gold together.
If you want to go down a rabbit hole, just watch those bloopers and outtakes. Hilarious.
Those two idiots just live to make each other laugh.
Yep.
And Conway, man, anytime he went into that, like he kind of had a couple different characters that he used it with, but when he went into that stone face with like no emotions and no movement or anything. You ever see that time when when Harvey he won some award at an award show and Conway was on stage with him, and like while he's trying to give the speech, like Conway literally has his head up against his arm, just like stone face at him.
I recently saw that. I think we probably caught it the same one, maybe.
It's like, how did he keep a straight face to that? And the crowd, of course, is just dying the whole time.
Yeah, she was awesome.
That dude was a genius. And it was such pure comedy back then. Like, you know, again, there's nothing wrong with stuff that maybe is a little more kind of edgy and stuff like that today and so forth. But it is kind of nice when you look back on that and just see, like, it's just kind of like basic and wholesome. It's just people performing.
Did I mess that up, Johnny? It's not the guy I was thinking that plays Mel. Oh, it's a different dude. It is a different dude. Never mind. I think every gray-haired bald dude looks the same. I'm sorry.
Who are you trying to look up?
I'm trying to look up this interview. This guy that interviewed Mary Tyler Moore, a famous dude, interviewed everybody in like the 60s and 70s that I used to watch all the time. And if I said his name, everyone would know. And I can't think of it. And I'm trying to look it up, and I can't find it. And John Davidson keeps popping in my head because we talked about him earlier, but it's not him. What the heck was his name? He was always on TV when I was a kid.
Was he more of a serious guy, like half news guy?
No, he was fun. He had a great, easy personality and stuff. Interviewed everybody. In fact, his stuff's like archived, and you can go on YouTube, and it's like all of his like interviews and stuff are on there. Oh, I like this guy too. Dick Cavett was good, but I'm not talking about him. Here we go. Here it is. Reeling in the stories is like the series. You can find everybody. Has someone said his name yet? It wasn't Dick Cavett, but that's a good one. And I love Dick Cavett. Here it is. I'm going to click on production available, licensing, Carl Burnett. Okay, come on. Where's his name? His name's not on here.
Oh, you said it wasn't Dick Cavett?
It's Merv Griffin.
Oh.
Merv Griffin, everyone. Now you can all sleep tonight.
We went through all that for Merv Griffin.
I went all that for Merv Griffin, but hey, we talked about Carol Burnett. Check out her Merv Griffin interview, is really cute. But Merv Griffin was cool. He went a long time, dude. He was doing that for days. I mean, he's not as good as Dick Cavett, who interviewed Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. And
Janis Joplin and John and Yoko.
Yep.
There's a lot of great stuff. But my favorite interview of him is a guy that no one will know. Maybe we'll see how old time you guys are. Is Jack Benny. Jack Benny was massively famous back in the day. He started on radio, and then when TV came, he was one of the first TV shows. And it was like a skit show. They would do skits and stuff and everything. Anyway, Jack Benny's old when Dick Cavett, and he goes on the Dick Cavett show, and Jack Benny steals the freaking show. He's so hilarious, dude. It's so funny. He tells a story about like, he's like, yeah, the reason I'm here is I didn't come all the way out here to come on your show. I came all the way out here because I'm actually performing. I'm going to be playing violin. He's famous like a violin player. The big joke was that he sucked at violin, even though he was actually really good. And he's like, yeah, I'm performing with, I can't remember who it was, one of those famous guys. And he goes, and he calls me up and he says, yeah, the violinist can't make it. Can you make it to my show and play from the show? And he's like, wait a minute. Well, he's like, I can't remember to mess this up. He goes, that's so funny. He's like, what's so funny about it? He's all like, if you named 3 of the best violin players in the world, you're one of them. And you want me, one of the 3 worst violin players in the world, to come on your show? And then the guy goes, oh yeah, that is pretty funny. I'm sorry. I just think that line is so funny. He's one of the 3 worst violin players in the world. How do you even measure that? Okay. I think it's time to end. Wah, wah. But I do love Jack Benny. He's so great. In fact, if it wasn't Jack Benny, you wouldn't have it's too late. Now I can't think of anyone's name. Johnny Carson. And you can see the early Carson stuff when he's with Jack Benny. Jack Benny's his idol, and he really modeled his whole thing after Jack Benny, and then became Johnny Carson. So there you go. All right, let's get through these last comments.
Do you guys watch Solid Gold? Johnny Fever has. Heck yeah, I watched Solid Gold.
Bro.
Loved Solid Gold.
The Solid Gold dancers, man. So good.
That's how I first met Dionne Warwick.
That's such a great show. And Solid Gold and Soul Train, right? I mean, both of those shows are so good.
Yeah, especially long before the whole video era and everything kicked in. Like that was just one of the places you went to see it. Like I said, it was Solid Gold, and you just mentioned what we just mentioned, Soul Train.
Soul Train, yeah.
And what was the one that came on at night? The like midnight something that showed used to have like all the big rock names and pop names and everything.
Oh no.
The Midnight Special.
Oh, Midnight Special. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, they used to have just some great artists appear on that show.
No way. Wolfman Jack, dude. As soon as I typed in Midnight Special, there's Wolfman Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They had John Lee Hooker. Oh, this is awesome, dude. BB King. I don't remember. I may have watched this. Maybe it was on too late for me or something, but
yeah. Yeah, but go back on YouTube and just watch random clips. I mean, they even have one of my favorites is the Edgar Winters group came on there and like they did a version of Frankenstein that was just mind-blowing.
No way, dude.
And you start going down that rabbit hole, and it's just all the big acts at the time. It's just kind of some late show where they would just come on and perform.
Rufus and Shaka Khan?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I gotta see that.
Really, really good stuff.
Dick Cavett, David Frost. We finally got there. Merv Griffin created a few big game shows. Did you guys watch Solid Gold? Merv Griffin created Jeopardy. Whoa. And Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, Merv Griffin was the man. So some people probably don't like him. I don't know that much about him personally, but I liked his show. Merv Griffin was the money behind the Carol Burnett show and many other top-rated shows behind the scenes. He was one of the most powerful people. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you watch him do his interviews, he just seems very supportive. I guess that's why, because he's out there making the wheel and deal and making this stuff happen. Mm-hmm. American Bandstand.
Bandstand. Jeez, we have gone down the rabbit holes.
The thing is, we're not saving anything for next time. Next time, we're still going to be searching for Merv Griffin and Mary Tyler Moore. The Incredible Hulk. No one mentioned The Incredible Hulk. What a great show. Oh yeah, American Bandstand. That's right, with Dick Clark, dude. That was a great show. That was the one where I saw Donna Summer was on his show. That's a great one.
Man.
Remember Don Kirshner rock concert Saturday night midnight? I don't.
All right, dude. We're like 1 minute away from the 3-hour mark.
All right. We got to call it. Oh, I thought for a second I thought I was looking at Frank Zappa. Nope. Okay. Black Sabbath. All right. We'll go back and look at Don Kirshner's show. Woo! Well, we got to let everyone go into sleep. I know everyone, is just waiting for us to sign off so they can end their day. I appreciate everyone hanging out and watching. Cesar, what's up? Is it just me, Cesar? We're just about to wrap up.
3-hour mark.
At the 3-hour mark, you're gonna have to scrub back 3 hours. And but thanks for being here, Cesar. You're the man, dude. Thanks, Swifty. We'll see you all. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate you guys. This was fun, man. You guys are the best, dude. You guys rock with us when it comes to trying to find these obscure rabbit holes. You guys just go right down with us, man. It's so awesome. Change the name of the show to Tubi Time.
Tubi Time.
Tubi Time. I know. I feel like we gotta. Actually, that was an idea. I thought we should go watch one movie on Tubi a week, and then we come back and talk about it.
That'd be
we'll
awesome.
See. All right, guys. Thanks so much, man. We'll catch you guys next week. Have a good one.
Appreciate you guys.